talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
Right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Sunday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, now with that all being said, let's get ready to get into the nefariousness of it all. All right, I see you, songwriter Sunny, Bookhorse DC, Bronze Flat Power God, 504 Nola, Robert is here. All right, Vince, I am from the UK. Let's get into it. All right, I see you, Lovely T. Okay, so Alice, Emperor Rex. All right, we the people. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, pretty wings. Now, with that all being said, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And she also sells beard oil. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it now. First, I just saw this crazy story that someone sent me, and we're going to talk about that momentarily, about this teacher who is transgender and identifies as some sort of wolf. Now, according to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of the Department of War, okay, he says that the person was fired 2 weeks ago after parents continuously made complaints. Okay, but I was listening, I was reading some of the article about it and listening to part of this video. I haven't listened to the entire thing, but I'm going to play the video report for you all from CBN News. And I thought it was very interesting. You're sitting up in class wearing a tail. You're wearing a tail to school and a leash around your neck, around your collar. This is all getting very crazy, people. Please pay attention. Mental health issues are real, okay? You're identified as a wolf. Are y'all hearing this? High Kick CT said a wolf. Yes, honey, absolutely true. A wolf. Okay, so we're going to talk about that first. So let's get into it. Now, I don't like Pete Hegseth and listen to anything he has to say. But nonetheless, I don't know why he was the one that made the announcement about this person being fired. But let's talk about it. Well, I guess because it was at Fort Bragg where this all occurred. So, trans teacher who allegedly identified as a wolf fired from kindergarten job after parents complained. Now, this is someone who was teaching 5-year-olds. Okay, kindergartners. Definitely confusing for them, I'm sure. So, a transgender teacher in North Carolina has been fired after allegedly adopting a wolf persona that they used in their classroom. The teacher taught preschool and kindergarten students at Mildred B. Poole Elementary School, which is on the base of Fort Bragg. Now, according to parents, the teacher began sharing their identity, including the alleged wolf claims. The student who then went home or the students who then went home and talked about what was said, their parents began to complain. And perhaps thanks to the anti transgender beliefs of the current U.S. administration, no less, the teacher was dismissed. Because of the trans panic, it's very hard to know how much of this is true, they say. Now, in a post on X, Department of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that the teacher was no longer working at the school. He said, the wolf was fired 2 weeks ago. That's what he posted on X. Now, they say a group of military families at Fort Bragg are expressing deep concern about the teacher at their children's school who identifies as a transgender wolf. One mother said her daughter expressed fear, saying, "Mommy, I'm scared he's going to come eat me." Okay, it's all nefarious. Do y'all hear it? I'm sorry, this is absolutely crazy to me, okay? But let's go to CBN as this reporter uh explains this. Okay, and tries to make it all make sense. Ben Saem said that teacher should go look for his or her pack in the wild. Leave children alone. Okay, why are you telling for? And then here's the thing. And they were explaining to these children, allegedly, of course, but so the reports say they were explaining to the children, which mind you are 4 and 5 years old, because Head Start in kindergarten, explaining to the children that they were born in a male's body, but they really are a woman and they like boys. Why are you talking to these kids about this? You should be teaching them their alphabet. You should be teaching them how to count, how to spell their names. Okay, letting them build things with Legos. I mean, make it all make sense and Play-Doh. Why are you having these type of adult conversations with people's 4 and 5-year-olds? They absolutely should have been fired, whether they thought they were a wolf or not. Okay, now with that all being said, let's continue because I'm going to go to Robert said Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, it's all crazy. Okay, so now let's go to this report. Likes up, everyone. Please, please don't forget to like and share. All right. This is going to be a good broadcast today. Okay, please pay attention. Hold on, I'm trying to rewind it. I'm trying to rewind it back. Okay.
U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth tells CBN News that a transgender teacher at a Fort Bragg elementary school has been fired. It comes after parents had expressed deep concerns about the teacher's behavior around their children. Before that news was revealed, I spoke with Liberty Counsel's Matt Staver about the case. A group of military families at Fort Bragg is deeply concerned about a teacher at their children's school who identifies as, quote, a transgender wolf. The parents point to multiple incidences where their children are terrified and confused. And joining us now for more on this disturbing case is Matt Staver of the Liberty Counsel. Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure to be with you.
This case is absolutely, I can't even wrap my mind around it. Can we talk first of all about what are some of the examples that parents have really told you guys about that they're super duper upset about? And
this is unbelievable. It's really hard to imagine. You'd almost think that we're making this up, but sadly we're not. This is a kindergarten and pre-K teacher at a Fort Bragg elementary school, the Mildred P. Poole Elementary School, and military families send their children to this school. So this individual goes by multiple names. I'll tell some of the names in just a minute. But one of the things that this individual does is he identifies as a female and also as a wolf. And he comes to class on occasion with a tail out of his pants, dragging behind him like he is a wolf. He has gone by different names. He actually has the children howling in the classroom like a wolf because he identifies not only as a female, but he identifies as a furry, an animal. And there's a reason for that because that's sexually provocative. And that's another whole story. But one of the children came home and told her mommy, she said, "Mommy, I'm scared he's going to eat me." The mother said, "Who's going to eat you?" The daughter replied, "Ms. Roxy, he told us again he turns into a wolf at night." Another child told the mother that Miss Roxy likes to have us howl like wolves. One of these children also said, "Mommy, Miss Roxy says he was born in a male's body, but he's actually a woman, but he likes boys." This individual is absolutely bizarre. He goes by all kinds of names like Roxanne Wildheart, Miss Roxy, Captain Roxy, Cody Wildheart, a Little Death Howl, Artemis Death Howl, and also Savage Beast Queen. He tells the kids to call him by those names. And he has on his social media a picture of a teddy bear with a knife in its neck and blood splurting from the teddy bear. He has an AR-15 rifle there also with a teddy bear. And it says, quote, "Do a crime." That's on his social media. So the parents brought this to the authorities at Fort Bragg. And they said, well, they can't do anything about it because this person is trans and identifies as a female and has a right to be able to do so. So that's why they contacted Liberty Counsel. We've now sent them a demand letter. They have not yet positively responded. We've said this person needs to get removed from the classroom.
This leads right into, I mean, this is troubling on so many fronts. I mean, you guys at Liberty say that this case involves sexual harassment of children. I mean, why hasn't the DOD school not intervened? I mean, for what reason have they not done something about it?
You know, this is, I think, the illustration of the depth of the woke agenda that some of the military has sunk to. Now, obviously, President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, they're cleaning up the military. But they're doing it at the top, and it needs to sometimes trickle down to the bottom. And so some of this stuff that we are encountering, and this is probably one of the most bizarre, is still happening. So we're now going to file suit, bring this to the attention of the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and President Donald Trump, to not only get this person removed from the classroom so that he won't terrify the students and parents, but also there needs to be people that should have made these decisions when the parents complained. They need to be removed as well. So he tells the kids that he turns into a wolf at night. He tells him that he has sexual fetish desires like an animal. He wears a dog collar with fetish tags and has an animal call in his class where he requires them to howl like wolves, and he wears a tail. This is just the most bizarre situation. It goes far beyond some man who is deceived and thinks that he's a woman. This person is really putting these children in danger and needs to be removed from the classroom ASAP.
Absolutely. Matt, does this case show that transgender rights supersede the rights of children in America today?
Yeah, I think what this does show is that this whole trans agenda, if unchecked, supersedes everything, supersedes religious freedom and supersedes the rights of parents and even common sense and the safety and well being of the children. This is an agenda that really, at its core, is a rebellion against God. God created us in his image, male and female. What the trans agenda says is God made a mistake. He put you in the wrong body. He made a mistake. God made a mistake. So we're going to fix that mistake by creating ourselves in our own image. That's a direct rebellion against God, who is our creator. And that's why I think it's so critically important to understand this issue, because at its core root, it's a spiritual warfare against God, who is our creator.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What will happen to this DoD school if the teacher is not removed?
Well, we are now preparing to file suit against this teacher individually, as well as the school in general as well, to make sure that these children and certainly the parents are protected. And this should never happen in any classroom. I mean, we have children. One of the girls refuses to use the bathroom during the day. When asked by the parent, why are you refusing to use the bathroom? Come to find out, this teacher is accompanying the little girls to the bathroom. And so they are afraid to walk near this teacher and go to the bathroom with this teacher nearby. So this is just beyond imagination.
Unbelievable.
It needs to stop.
It needs to stop.
I'm glad this person was fired. Okay, I'm glad this person was fired. This is sick. Okay, this is some type of weirdo, in my opinion. Okay, you're talking about you're a wolf. You're talking about 4 and 5 year olds about sex. Okay, please make it stop. Okay, wearing a tail and a dog leash, having the children to howl. This person has some sort of mental illness. If you ask me, this sounds like they absolutely have some sort of mental illness. Okay, they need to be in somebody's insane asylum getting treatment. Okay, I'm sorry. When people start identifying as animals and they think that makes sense, there's something not right upstairs. Okay, please pay attention. Okay. Now, with that all been said, and people need to stop just going along with this foolishness. What is the school talking about? Their rights. You have no right to be talking to anyone's child at those ages about your sexual business. That's what you don't have a right to do. Okay, nor do you have a right to come in there having children howl as if they're animals and then wearing a hotel. That's what you don't have a right to do. Make it all make sense. What the hell's wrong with people? This is like, this is like just totally crazy. Are we in a world where up means down and down means up and in means out and out means in? Okay, where is logic and reasoning? And then escorting these girls to the restrooms? Please. Absolutely not. You know how much hell I would have been raising had my child been one of those students in the class with this crazy person talking about they're a damn wolf? Well, I'm glad they're going, period. Now, with that all being said, Vince I am said exorcism shouldn't be ruled out either. Okay. Now, before we get into it, let's go to my X account because there's some videos on there I want to bring to you all's attention. Does anyone, excuse me, does anyone remember that time when the Pentagon, put a 1 in the chat if you do, if you remember, thank you, beloved. Yes, get the likes up. 147 watching and 67 likes. Let's get the likes up, beloveds. Let's get the likes up. Okay. With that all being said, once in the chat, if you remember the time the Pentagon was busted and that some of the employees there were supposedly looking up child porn on the computers. Do you all remember that? I mean, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Is everyone in the government involved in this BS? Yeah, I know it's not everyone, but all realms of it at least. This is all crazy. Do y'all remember that? If you don't worry, because we're about to go to the footage. Okay? We're about to go to the footage. All right. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. Because I promise you, I had forgotten about this till I saw this clip. All right. So now first, let's go right here. because this pervert right here, Neil Wright, that's his name, pled guilty to aggravated R-wording of a child under 12, but he was allowed to take a plea deal to avoid trial. Now, under the plea agreement accepted by Judge Stevens, please pay attention, his sentence is capped at 20 years in prison. You see, these devils need to get life or the death penalty because they're never going to change. Okay, this is a sickness with them. I feel like people who abuse children and do such nefarious things, okay, they should get life at least. Okay. And the fact, and here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. Now that we're finding out all of these, nefarious details, thank you, Dangerous, for the belated birthday wishes, beloved. I appreciate you. But listen, and to everyone else who gave belated birthday wishes yesterday and so on and so forth. But listen, here's the thing. I was pondering, I was sitting there thinking about all the nefarious things that we found out in the Epstein files and all these people in all the realms of government around the land globally, okay, from here and there and everywhere, these different politicians that have engaged in these things allegedly. It just really is so sick and disgusting. But what it brought to my attention was it made me realize why in this country specifically, the laws against PDF files are so lax. It made me realize how these people can go and do these things to people's children, get caught, and then get probation, not even jail time in many of the instances. It made me realize this is why the laws are this way in their favor, because many of the people creating these laws are the same way. Some of the judges who view these cases or who are in charge of these cases, right, who rule on these cases are involved in these things as well. How many times have I reported these things to you? So now it all makes sense, you see. Now it all makes sense. All along, this isn't anything new, because now we can see that all along the PDF files have always been protected. Okay, the PDF files in this country have always been protected. Okay, I want you to pay attention. Now, let's continue, because I think this is sick that his sentence was capped, and he did this to a child under 12. It does not say the exact age of the child, but we do know that the child was, in fact, under the age of 12. How disgusting. And this judge, I wonder if he is a PDF file as well. But let's continue. Okay, let's continue. And then here is your president. Okay, they say this is the reason there is a war. Okay, look at your president here. I'm not going to play the volume because the music, but you can just see for yourself. Let me rewind it back. Look at it. Groping, hands all over people. He wants us to think that he didn't know anything or wasn't doing anything nefarious with Epstein. I think Donald Trump is doing everything that every victim and accuser said about him. I believe he did every bit of it. He is such a liar. When has he not lied? Okay? And he's even talked for 10 minutes without throwing a lie in there. I don't even think he could. Okay? Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Now, this soldier here, listen to what he has to say about the Trump administration.
Time is. Now I have a message for the American people. Last December, I encouraged you to give this new administration a chance. Time is up. Our government is compromised. Tyrants get promoted and patriots get punished. I am very concerned that we are on the brink of losing our constitutional republic to tyranny. We came extremely close during COVID, and it seems to me like everyone has already forgotten that it even happened. There has been no rectification and absolutely no accountability. The only way that I see we the people taking back our country is a ground-up revolution. We must abandon the America First movement as well as both political parties. I am calling for the God First, Liberty Second movement to be born in the United States of America. This will take at least 8 to 12 years to accomplish. We must first take municipal seats, then county seats, then state seats, and then we will take back our federal government. If the spirit of patriotism burns within you, you are called to the work. For many are called, but few are chosen. We need those who otherwise never would have gotten involved in politics to step up and serve. What would your qualifications be? I can't say. but I can share what the Lord personally impressed upon me to qualify for me to participate in his work, and maybe it will guide you in seeking your calling. Number 1, you must keep yourself above reproach. If you have any vices, you must abandon them. Pornography, any sexual sin, any addiction, unrighteous anger, and pride were a few that were impressed upon me. The enemy of all freedom will use anything you do against you, so only do good. 2, you must prioritize your health and fitness. If you do not have a strong tabernacle to house your spirit, your emotions, and your mental health, you will struggle to overcome the attacks that surely will come. Number 3, you must trust in God with all your heart. There will be hard times ahead in this movement. If you do not have faith, you will not endure. Number 4, you must be willing to sacrifice everything. Your life may even be taken. Personally, I'm all in. I am currently running for mayor in the city of Eagle Mountain, Utah, where I reside. My primary election is taking place soon. If I fail to prevail, in 2 years I will run for city council, and then in 4 more years, I will run for mayor again. I am calling on patriots and freedom fighters everywhere to join this movement. You are called. It's up to you what you do to be chosen. I intend to preserve for my children what my parents' generation has failed to preserve for me. In the future for which I am fighting, my children will be able to afford a home. My children will be permitted to raise their children without the fear of the government indoctrinating them.
Okay, y'all hear that? Christopher said he sounds like a robot. Well, he isn't, beloved. At the end of the day, listen, somebody's got to take a stand and somebody's got to do something. We cannot allow the devils to get away with what they're up to. Okay? Now let's continue. I'm not even going to show that. Here we go right here. Let's talk about the Pentagon.
Potentially hundreds of military employees and contractors who may have bought child pornography online but haven't been prosecuted or even in some cases investigated. That's right, you heard me, child pornography. As many as 1,700 names, according to a U.S. Senator, on a list of 5,200 from an internet sting operation overlooked the first time around 4 years ago. Pentagon porn story began in 2006. An Immigration and Customs Enforcement child pornography sting operation called Project Flicker produced payment records of about 5,200 people, many of whom provided Army or fleet zip codes or military email addresses. Subsequently, the Pentagon's investigative branch, DCIS, began going through the ICE list to identify who actually was a DoD employee or a contractor. The investigation, however, only ran for 8 months and only cross-checked some 3,500 names for Pentagon ties, according to a senator. Out of that 3,500, investigators uncovered 264 employees or contractors. Potentially hundreds of military.
Okay, that was at the Pentagon. Okay, I find it all nefarious. Now, with that being said, Christopher says he sounds like he has been programmed very well. He doesn't sound programmed to me because people that are programmed go along with the program, beloved. That's what they do. If he was programmed, then he would be going along with whatever they're doing and saying, okay? He wouldn't be speaking out against them. And also, I hope that he stays safe because usually people like him who do speak out turn up dead, okay? Or they get court-martialed on BS charges, all right? So let us not disparage the people who are brave and bold enough to speak out against the things that are going on. Because if you ask me, that's what we all should be doing. Okay. He wasn't sounding programmed. He was choosing his words very carefully and he was speaking very directly as to not be misunderstood. That's what he was doing, beloved. Now let's continue.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. I woke up this morning thinking about some stuff, and this stuff kind of makes me angry. You know, I hear people saying, "No, they're trafficking." Well, we got to get that straight. They're pimps, and when they say trafficking young kids for across state lines for sex with adults, no, they're not. They're selling these kids to get raped. I think we try to sanitize stuff, you know, in Hollywood, you know, shows the pimp and dressed in the fine clothes and the nice car and, you know, talking tough and all that. And that's all these people are. They're awful, awful, demonic people. And they deserve to burn in hell. And people say, oh, Burchett, you don't want to hang those people. The hell I don't. Bring them out to the farm. We'll take care of them. And I am not kidding you. We've got to start taking this stuff serious in this country, folks. And, you know, the way the left and I guess we all are guilty of it. We try to sanitize it so it doesn't affect our psyche or our conscience. But stuff's going on right now. It's going on in your community. It's going on in my community. We need to pay attention, and we need to start enforcing our dadgum laws and quit electing these gutless wimps and putting these judges in that let these people walk, and quit with all the being able to get out of these things, and they get probation and all this other stuff. All they're going to do is offend again. And the people that are buying these kids to rape are just as guilty or worse than the others. End them all. That's what we've got to do. There's nothing redeemable about these people. Anyway, folks, pray for our country. Pray for all those little kids out there that are lost in this horrible system. We lost over 300,000 during the Biden administration. Thank God for President Trump and Homan. They found, I think, 145,000 of them so far. And that's not in the press. Should be. Shame on the media. Anyway, pray for our country. Thank y'all for seeing.
Now, I was with him until he said, thank God for Trump and Holman. Is he serious? Yeah, they probably did find some of those kids. But guess what? Where are those kids now? Okay, because whatever was going on with them that they came up missing before is likely still going on with them. And why are these kids in these concentration camps being separated from their parents? Okay, please pay attention. Robert said 300,000. Robert, you sound shocked, but I reported on that a myriad of times during Biden's administration. Yes, there was over 300,000 kids that went missing. I want to say it was like closer to 364,000, if I'm not mistaken. And I also reported how Tara Brodus, who was supposed to be working with these people to find sponsors for the immigrant children, that she said that they were trafficking them, and the sponsors that were giving them to were nothing more than traffickers. Okay? And so, with that all being said, this is why I tell you all, it's both parties. Okay? Bill Clinton can sit there and pretend he didn't know what the hell Epstein was doing. He knew. He knew. Okay? He can sit there and say he never saw Trump doing X, Y, and Z, but telling on Trump is telling on himself. They both knew. Okay? There's pictures of Bill Clinton with children in a pool. I saw them with my own two eyes. I'll show them to you all eventually. I forgot to screenshot them, but nonetheless, there's pictures of him. It looks like he's in a pool with two girls with something over their, their faces redacted, like blacked out. Now, someone tried to say they were his nieces. Where did they get that from? How do we know those were his nieces? I'm sorry, make it all make sense. Okay, and why was that in the Epstein files, if that's the case? All right, because that's where the post that I saw, that's where the person said they got it from. Now, I haven't seen it in there. I will go back and double check. And the reason I haven't pulled it out to show to you is because I want to fact check it first. But nonetheless, it was definitely him. Okay, it was definitely him. See, Reggie said he saw the pic too. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Sister said they're all complicit. Many of them are. Okay. Danger said not even probation, no slap on the wrist, no prosecution, no consequences. Sickos. Exactly. All right, exactly. Just a bunch of freaks and perverts and demonic demons. I don't know why this man, he sat there and gave that whole spiel. He was saying some of the exact same things that I said. But then when he said, thank God for Trump and Hope, and he lost me right there, honey. He must be drinking the Kool-Aid clearly if he thinks Trump is a good person. Now, let's go right here. His name appears third to Epstein and Ghislaine. He was more than just a pedo customer. He was part of the enterprise. Children as young as 9 were abused, and this regime will do absolutely nothing or anything, not to reveal the abusers. Okay, let's listen to this. This is just a brief clip.
Donald Trump's name is all over these files. all over it. I mean, thousands and thousands of times. If you spend any real time with these files, you will see references to 17-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 11-year-old girls, 10-year-old girls, and I saw a reference today to a 9-year-old girl. So it is a really gruesome and grim story. And I think in order to see our way through this and to try to make progress on criminal investigation and prosecution and some kind of social redemption from this whole nightmare, we need to listen to the survivors.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. Exactly. Now, let me just play this for those of you who may have missed it, because I posted this on here last night. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah. So Trump has thrust us into a world of chaos now that he's decided to go to war with Iran. Let's get into it. Now, reports are saying that during the Group of Seven summit in Canada last week, that an intermediary said basically that Iran was saying that if they were attacked, that they would activate a group of sleeper cells inside the United States. Okay, so now they're issuing travel advisories and they're saying that we all need to be on alert. Please pay attention. Now, I can't substantiate this, but these are some of the things that are alleged to have been said. And I just find it all interesting because the last thing we need is terror, random acts of terror just popping off in the United States with all the things that we already have going on. I mean, with ICE and all the other nefariousness. Please pay attention. Also, let's not forget how Trump seems to have no problem sacrificing the lives of U.S. soldiers just so he can accomplish his nefarious goal. Okay, that is being done, in my opinion, at the behest of those that I shan't mention. Okay, please pay attention. Now, what's going on in the Middle East at this point is going to negatively impact all of us. Okay, economists have already predicted that oil prices are going to surge because of this. Please pay attention. Now, this is all going to affect goods that need fuel to be made and transported, okay? And that means many global products that we use on a daily basis. And so that, of course, is going to make inflation rise. Okay, please pay attention. To mention, Iran runs the Strait of Hormuz, which is the most significant shipping lane on the planet. It allows for oil to be shipped from Iran, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the AUE, to the rest of the world. Okay, so please pay attention. That's about 1/5 of the global daily production of oil. Okay, approximately 20 million barrels. Okay, please pay attention. Now, they're also reporting that oil tankers are stagnant. They're unable to get through. And if they can't supply the oil to the world, what do you think is going to happen? Prices will absolutely soar. Now, an EU naval mission official said that Iran's Revolutionary Guards basically told ships that passage through the Strait of Hormuz is not allowed. Now, an official who spoke under the condition of anonymity told Reuters that Iran has not formally confirmed any such order being given. Okay, so please pay attention. But it's important to note that for years, Tehran has threatened to block the Nile waterway in retaliation for any attack on the Islamic Republic. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, listen, they say there is no public record of an Iranian government official stating that they would activate a network of sleeper cells. However, U.S. and Western intelligence officials have expressed concern that Iran-backed groups such as Hezbollah maintain sleeper cells that could be ordered to attack Western targets. Now, reports indicate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, known as IRGC, has been involved in plotting, including recruiting to form such cells in Europe. Okay, so please pay attention. In the past, there's been reports of people linked to Hezbollah absolutely scouting targets in the U.S. There's concerns of Iran utilizing proxy networks to conduct surveillance or attacks rather than direct or overt action. Okay, so please pay attention. All right, with that all being said, Trump's going to get us all in a world of trouble, okay? That's what he's going to do. Now, that being said, let's continue. I find it all so interesting. Okay, so let me just tell you all something. Here's the thing. First off, Trump has for years, kept saying that President Obama was the one who was going to start a war with Iran. And what I find interesting is the fact that, now we have these MAGA idiots trying to say basically that Trump didn't start the war, he's finishing it. This is what they said. They said, oh, we've been fighting Iran since 1979. Trump didn't start any war, he finished it. You see, they'll do anything to try to justify his BS. Okay, we've not been fighting with Iran since 1979. Okay, there was a whole agreement made by President Obama. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it. Now, that being said, let's get into Trump and all his lies and BS. So, this is a quote from Trump. To get elected, Obama will start war with Iran. He said that November the 29th of 2011. Then he said Obama will attack Iran to get reelected. He said that January the 17th of 2012. And then he said, now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch him order a strike on Libya or Iran. He's desperate. He said that October the 9th of 2012. Then he said, I predict President Obama will at some point start a war with Iran to save face. That was a quote from Donald Trump, September the 6th of 2013. Then he said, remember when I predicted a long time ago Obama would attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly? Not skilled. He said that November the 11th of 2013. Okay? So I want you all to pay attention. He's always been hating on Obama and lying and accusing Obama of trying to start a war with Iran, which Obama never did. In fact, 2015, Obama negotiated the JCPOA with EU on board with China and Russia also. And then 2018, Trump canceled Obama's deal because he's a whole hater. And he did it just because Obama did it. That's what he did with stupid self. Okay, then 2018 to 2020, he couldn't even negotiate a better deal, which he had promised to do. Okay, and which is why he shouldn't have canceled Obama's in the first place. Then 2021 to 2024, Biden did not negotiate a new deal. 2025, Trump returns to office, and then Israel bombs Iran, and Trump says their nuclear capabilities are obliterated. Okay, and now 2026, Trump launches a war with Iran. Okay, and then even though he swore that they had no nuclear capabilities, all right, evil is real. All right, say that real quick. Evil is real. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, Trump's just a liar who lies. Okay, that's what he is. But now let's go to what people are saying about him.
Message from my military friend, and this one's a triple warning you need to hear. Personally, it's got me very worried. Follow and watch till the end because I may have to delete this. First, he told me, if you're on the West Coast, stay alert. Not for a military strike, but for something that could hit without warning. He compared it to that massive quake off Russia earlier this year that triggered tsunami alerts across the Pacific. Said unusual seismic readings have been coming in for days, and they're quietly preparing evacuation routes in certain coastal towns. None of this is making headlines yet. Second, he warned about something brewing inside the country, a spark and spread event. He said certain cities are being quietly monitored, and the moment the wrong trigger hits, whether it's political or economic, lockdowns and curfews could roll out in hours, not days. When I asked for specifics, he gave me the names of the cities that are going to ignite first. And the third, he said agencies that never work together are suddenly running joint operations. When I pressed him, he said, it's not from here, and it's not the weather. Then he told me to delete our conversation, which I did. However, the full details, including which coastal towns and the cities they're watching, the warning sign you need to look out for if you're on the West Coast, and more that I just can't say here on TikTok, are in the breakdown I just posted on Patreon, plus so much more.
Now, before I start this next clip, let me just say that I can't confirm what that soldier was saying or what that guy was saying. He said one of his military friends told him that, okay? So there's no way for me to confirm it. But I did think what he said was interesting and possibly plausible. Now, that being said, here is the MAGA creep that told CBS that Trump didn't start the war. Oh, he absolutely did. And if he didn't start it, why in the hell did he keep saying all those years that Obama was going to start a war with Iran if we were already in the throes of a whole war with Iran? Make it all make sense.
You are a member of the Gang of Eight. You are one of the few Americans who had advance notice of this strike this morning. What can you tell us about why now, why the timing was right, and what the goals are?
Well, I think there are three goals to be addressed here. We've heard a lot of analysts talk about it. One is the nuclear capability that they continue to engage in. The other is their ballistic missile production and deployment. And the third one was the regime change piece that is we're seeing, these organic uprisings in Iran. And we're seeing the regime had killed upwards of 30,000 of their own people as a result. So there were some compelling reasons here, but I would argue that, the notion of starting a war with Iran, I don't think that people realize we've been at war with Iran since 1979. So President Trump is not starting a war, he's finishing one.
You see, like I said, they'll do anything they can to try to make excuses for him. Oh, he didn't start the war because we've already been in one. Please, miss us with it. Okay, let's continue.
President will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
He said it would be an outrage, and yet that's exactly what he's doing right at this moment. Okay, the hypocrisy of it all and the lies. Obama never did anything. And then he's sitting there talking about, remember when I predicted Trump, sit down. You're not an oracle nor a prophet. You're an idiot. Okay. Someone walking around with the Antichrist energy and spirit. That's who Trump is. Okay. And anyone who is still caping for Trump at this point, you're an idiot too. Okay. Let's continue. I said what I said.
Because recall Trump. There's a line from The Art of the Deal that feels particularly relevant right now, because recall Trump took office with millions of people thinking at least he'll be the deal maker in chief. After all, he opened the book with, in business, the most important thing is the deal. So let's talk about his deal, because it was in 2011 that he tweeted, all those politicians in Washington and not one good negotiator. This was specifically regarding Iran. It was that same year he said that Barack Obama was going to declare a war in Iran to get himself elected because he was so bad at making deals. In 2013, he said if Republicans need a chief negotiator, I'm always available. And when it comes to Iran specifically, he wasn't just selling deals. He was selling peace. In 2015, when he criticized Obama's deal-making skills, he said we should double up and triple up the sanctions and make them come to us. In 2018, he pulled out of Obama's deal and said that he was going to bring a much better one. Of course, he delivered nothing by 2020. So they rebooted their enrichment program. And in 2024, as he called himself the president of peace,
we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
And then when he took office, he said that we will measure our success not just by the wars that we end, but perhaps most importantly by the wars we never get into. Now here we are today. New war with Iran, retaliations across the Middle East, and Iran's leader assassinated. Which brings me back to that quote from The Art of the Deal, where Donald's ghostwriter wrote for him, you can't con people, at least not for long. If you don't deliver the goods, people will eventually catch on.
Okay, people will eventually catch on unless you're MAGA. Okay, unless you're MAGA, because MAGA's just so dumb they can't get it. Okay, they refuse to get it. They've drank the Kool-Aid, and by the way, they not only drank the Kool-Aid, Trump charged them for it. Okay, please pay attention. Now I want you all to pay attention, because here's the thing. Now, I reported this to you all the other day, how they bombed that girls' school. They bombed an elementary girls' school. And here's the thing. Yes, MAGA's absolutely brainwashed, beloved. They bombed a girls' elementary school, and they know that Iran has school on Saturday. Okay? They know Iran has school on Saturday. Please pay attention. Now let's continue.
So what Donald Trump thought would be the salutary domestic political effect of a U.S. president starting a war with Iran. Today, Saturday, is a weekday. It's a school day in Iran. As we start to get reports of the damages inside not just Tehran, but elsewhere in Iran. The internet is off in Iran. The government in Iran hasn't advised its own people what to do as American airstrikes start bombarding multiple cities. Donald Trump, when he was a private citizen, repeatedly in 2011, 2012, and 2013, said that then President Barack Obama was about to start a war with Iran in order to help his political prospects. He kept saying over and over again that Barack Obama was about to start a war with Iran in order to get reelected, in order to help the Democratic Party's political prospects. Donald Trump was wrong about that. Barack Obama didn't start a war with Iran. But we know why Trump thought Obama should have done it. He said so. He said that was exactly what Obama would need to do in order to get reelected, in order to put wind in his political sails. We know what Donald Trump thought would be the salutary domestic political effect of a U.S. president starting a war with Iran. And now today, as he is facing domestic political disaster in this year's elections, now today, our wildly unpopular U.S. president has started that war himself. Why do you think he did it?
Okay, we all know exactly why he did it. All right, please pay attention.
What happened to the president of peace? What happened to America first? We have started another war in Iran with Israel. We also have started conflict in Cuba because of what we did in Venezuela, and we also are causing conflict in Mexico and trying to create a power vacuum so we can go in and save Mexico like we've saved Venezuela, like we need to save Cuba, like we need to save Iran. No. We're trying to get all of their resources, and we are trying to put our own puppets in control of all of these countries. This is what dictators do. This is what authoritarian regimes do, because we are living in an authoritarian regime in the United States of America. Thanks to you, MAGA, and you're still cheering it on and flip-flopping and pushing that fucking goalpost into the ocean, you fucking piece of shit.
Did y'all hear what he called him? An effing piece of ish chuds. I never heard that before, but it's hilarious. Okay, and what's even more crazy is the fact that Oman's foreign minister met with U.S. Vice President Vance, J.D. Vance, as the Iran tensions began to rise. Now, mind you, they were actually supposed to be talking about coming to a deal. Omani Foreign Minister Badr bin Ahmad al-Busadi has met with the United States Vice President J.D. Vance amid growing fears of a potential U.S. attack on Iran. Now, this was February the 27th, 2 days ago. So he's the mediator, okay, a key mediator in ongoing talks between the U.S. and Iran, okay, met with Vance in Washington, D.C. on Friday. He said the nuclear negotiations have so far achieved significant, important, and unprecedented progress, okay? That's according to the Omani's news agency. Now, the meeting focused on indirect talks, which are being mediated by Oman. Now, American and Iranian officials held the latest round of negotiations in Geneva on Thursday. Since resuming talks last month, the U.S. had said that it wants Iran to dismantle its nuclear infrastructure entirely, limit its arsenal of ballistic missiles, and stop supporting regional allies. Now, I thought that was interesting because didn't Trump say that their nuclear facilities were all obliterated? Now, while Tehran has shown flexibility about discussing limitations on the enrichment of uranium for civilian use, it has so far treated missiles and proxies as non-negotiables. During this meeting with Vance, al-Busadi said the negotiations had resulted in creative and constructive ideas and proposals. Sounded like they were ready to sit down and have a deal. Now, Friday's meeting comes as concerns grow over a potential U.S. military strike on Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he favors a diplomatic resolution to the standoff, but has repeatedly threatened to bomb Iran if it does not accept a deal. The U.S. has amassed its biggest military arsenal in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, including the world's biggest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, which arrived on Friday in the Israeli port city of Haifa, according to Israel's Channel 12. Iran had said that it was not going to initiate a war but that it was ready to respond if attacked, threatening to strike bases used by U.S. forces in the region. On Friday, the U.S. authorized the departure of non-emergency embassy staff from Israel, the same order Washington issued for the U.S. mission in Lebanon earlier this week. China, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Italy are amongst the growing number of countries that have urged their citizens to leave Iran in recent days. Okay, and they've also issued a travel advisory for any Americans wanting to visit the Middle East. Okay, so I'm just saying, yeah, this is all Trump's doing. Okay, him in concert with the other people. Okay, please pay attention. Now, here's what Elizabeth Warren had to say about it.
Trump is taking the United States into war on his own with no authorization from Congress. He is willing to sacrifice American lives for what? For regime change? For a war that the president's own top military advisor has warned will be incredibly dangerous?
Also, let me just say, they're talking about regime change all of a sudden, but not that long ago, J.D. Vance said they weren't interested in a regime change. Okay, so please pay attention. Nothing but lies and hypocrisy from this entire administration.
For a war built on lies? For a war that won't make us safer? I want to be clear. The United States had a deal that could have prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That was Obama's nuclear deal with Iran, and Trump blew that deal up and got nothing in return. And now he's starting another war in the Middle East instead of doing the hard work of diplomacy to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. It is reckless and it is dangerous. It is a betrayal of the president's duty to uphold the Constitution and a betrayal of the American people. Your tax dollars are being used to bomb Iran while Donald Trump ignores the struggles of working people who can't afford health care and are struggling to pay for groceries here at home. That is not America first. All three of my brothers served in the military, so this is personal for me. I'm thinking of and praying for our troops that the president has put in harm's way without justification. We cannot let Donald Trump drag yet another generation into a forever war. The Senate must come back in session immediately to vote up or down on a war powers resolution and block this war.
Well, so far, they haven't blocked anything. But now let's go to what Trump posted in the wee hours of the night. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share.
In the morning, and Donald Trump just responded to Iran's latest threat toward the United States, saying if they attack us, he will hit them with a force they've never seen before. At 12:25 in the morning, Donald Trump said, Iran just stated they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they've ever hit before. They better not do that, however, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. Thanks for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Now, the United States continues to fire missiles at Iran. There's no indication that that's slowing down anytime soon, but Iran has already started some form of retaliation. They've targeted places in Jordan, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, and more. It looks like they're planning to expand that map and target even more locations. And so far, there have been no American casualties, which is great. My number one concern in all of this is American service members in the Middle East. I mean, they are the targets for Iran right now, but thankfully, nobody injured as of now. So I will keep you updated on all of this. It is very fast moving. It changes by the second. It's crazy, but man, just another awful.
Exactly. Now listen to this MAGA idiot. She's a whole idiot. She's clearly brainwashed, just like the rest.
Did not bomb Iran this morning.
You sure about that?
We carried out very targeted and planned attacks.
Is this like alternative facts?
There is a difference, and know the difference.
So bombing another country isn't actually bombing another country. Oh, okay.
Nobody wants war, and no, we are not starting World War III.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
Yeah, that sure sounds like we're going to war with Iran.
Iran has been conquered by a regime now for 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No new wars.
They changed their national anthem. They changed their flag. They changed their language. They've gotten rid of their churches, their synagogues. They've killed Christians and Jews.
There it is. You just said it out loud. That's all that matters.
And they're forcing people to convert to Islam. Iranians are not Arabs, and it is important that we remember that.
Got it. So Islam bad, Arab good, Mamdani bad. Did I connect the dots there?
No, we are not fighting this war for Israel, and hear me out. I wholeheartedly agree that Israel has way too strong of a hold and influence on our U.S. government, and I unequivocally do not agree with that.
No, you quite do equivocally accept that, because you don't say anything about Donald Trump being buddy-buddy with them at all. You don't think it's a problem.
I don't believe that President Trump stepped in to do any favors for Israel on this one.
There it is. See, you defend him.
The Iranian people have been pleading with America and President Trump for months now for us to come in and help them fight this regime.
So they've been pleading for months, but we're not doing it for them.
President Trump told them, keep going to the streets, keep protesting, keep being heard, and we will come in and we will back you up.
Oh, so now he supports protesting in other countries, but not here. Got it.
If there's anyone that knows this best, it's President Trump, that you have to fight force with force.
Unless it's a gay woman in Minnesota, in which case you can just shoot them.
I'm not going to attack anybody that feels differently than I do. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but these are my opinions, and I am also no expert on foreign affairs or war.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran.
His words, not mine.
Okay. Now pay attention to this next clip.
Live and maintain. Yeah. This nigga maintaining. Niggas all over the world telling me you running the neighborhood. Welcome me over here, man. I'll be back. Hey, yo, y'all, hold on, man. Yeah. Hey, you know I'ma handle this, right? I mean, you know how I was. Yeah, but you know, that was then. Now, see, listen. This is how it's gonna go down. I'm gonna set you up with a little corner, you understand what I'm saying? But let my man work it. So all you gotta do, Calvin, man, is just lay low and make this money. Hey, come on, baby. You know, I don't relax with the help. You know how I get down. I'm saying, look at you, though, man. This is, God. You understand? Junior doing his thing. Ace. Yeah, just call me Ace.
Okay. Y'all caught that, right? Please pay attention. Now let's continue. That's exactly how it's going down. All right. Y'all saw the flags.
Is engaged in genocide, but nobody's talking about its nuclear weapons. The hypocrisy is blindingly obvious, right? Iran does not have nuclear weapons. It is not credibly believed to have nuclear weapons, not by any international organization, and even US intelligence has said Iran is not building a nuclear weapon at this stage. It's under attack by two powers that both have nuclear weapons. So what we're seeing right now, and which is not being discussed, is essentially this is a war to preserve Israel's nuclear monopoly in the Middle East. I'm Tony Karan. I'm the editorial lead of AJ Plus, and I've also been covering the Iran nuclear question and nuclear weapons in general for about 30 years. So Israel has this monopoly of nuclear force, meaning that if Israel was being threatened, if its existence was being threatened, if it felt its survival was being threatened by any other regime, it could obliterate their city. So it could nuke Tehran. So now that monopoly is something Israel has held onto, despite it being undeclared. It has held onto for decades with the support of the United States.
Now, don't you find it interesting that supposedly they have nuclear capabilities? The United States supports them, but they don't want Iran to have it. So very interesting, but let's continue.
The US basically detonates 2 nuclear weapons in Japanese cities over, civilian population centers in order to force Japan to surrender. By all measures of the law of war as we know it today, this was an unambiguous war crime. This is the origin of nuclear weapons. Of course, it's never discussed this way in the United States. We have a big silence being imposed. What these weapons are, what they do, what they're used for. The US now demonstrates it has the ability to force any other power to do its bidding by obliterating whole cities. Obviously, the Soviet Union is going to protect itself from being bullied in that way, and it develops its own nuclear deterrent. But of course, others want in on the game. Basically, the reason you develop a nuclear weapon is it gives you the strategic trump card. Nobody is going to mess with you. Nobody's going to pose an existential threat to your regime, to your country, to your government, if you have the ability to obliterate their cities. So you can see why these governments all want one. Israel decides that its existential survival requires nuclear weapons, and with the help of France, it develops nuclear weapons of its own. A couple of years later, in the 1970s, it helps its apartheid South African ally develop nuclear weapons of its own. So you see how these patterns of cascade work. Each of those regimes will imagine the incentive is to create a deterrent, as in to prevent it being able to be bullied by others. That's the logic of developing a nuclear weapon. There's this long-standing myth, essentially, that Iran exists to destroy Israel. Guess what? Iran's regime has been pretty passive in relation to Israel for the 45 years or so that it's existed. Iran's regime is focused on surviving. So, the question of nuclear development for them would be a question of, do they need this deterrent in order for their own regime to survive? That's the basis on which everybody develops nuclear weapons. The G7 literally makes a statement saying Iran is the greatest source of instability and turmoil in the region, and we support Israel's right to defend itself. Another version of that is you quote the rhetoric of Iranian leaders over the years saying they'd like to get rid of Israel. And you go, well, we can't trust them with a nuclear weapon. Well, you just have to look at what's happened in the last 18 months in Gaza. We've seen Israel waging a war of genocide. Iran has not made war.
Okay, now that was a good thorough breakdown. Now let's go to this next clip. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Iran is not close to Israel's neighborhood, and Israel has a national security doctrine of simply seizing the territory of the immediate surrounding states, and of course, permanently seizing all of Palestine. What this is really about, then, is going to the next stage, and perhaps the defining moment in Israel's reach for regional domination, that all of the region will see that it must bend the knee, that the US is Israel, and that is omnipotent. The claim that this is to prevent a nuclear armed Iran is not credible. By the way, one of the things this almost certainly does is it guarantees nuclear proliferation, because everyone in the region now looks at how the nuclear armed bully Israel can act with another nuclear armed bully, America. Israel's bet is that with the US at its side, it can't be stopped. Not in this surge for regional domination, and not in its eradicationist war against the Palestinians. Israel is a dependent protectorate of the US. What's strange is, simultaneous to that, Israel can be the one calling the shots. Not that there isn't a camp for war in the US, but the strong, palpable sense is that it's hard to depict this is a US national interest. Israel is dragging the US into this. Israel plays fast and loose with US lives. This is unpopular inside the US. This may be one of the reasons this doesn't go well for Israel.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military.
In June of 2025, President Trump apparently got a taste for sitting in that situation room, seeing the, as he depicts it, awesome destructive power of the American military. And the "I'm not a war guy, I'm the peace president" has subsided ever since. Iran is not.
All right, let's continue. Like so, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
Obama will invade Iran to get reelected. Remember when I predicted that Barack Obama would invade Iran because he doesn't know how to negotiate properly? Not skilled. Nothing to worry about anymore. We obliterated Iran's nuclear program. We must invade Iran because they are dangerous.
Let's continue. That wig was something else, okay? That wig actually looked twice as good as Trump's hair in real life.
It's not okay. It's sad. How do you guys feel about it? How about you, Congress? It's not okay. It's sad. How do you guys feel about it? How about you, Congress?
It's a shame. I can't believe it. So y'all gonna get him or what? Y'all gonna do something about this? That's the thing. He didn't declare war. Right? Technically, we're the only ones allowed to declare war. You know? And he's not doing that.
Then what the fuck is he doing? What are you talking about right now?
I believe he said it was like a military operation. Per the Constitution, he has the authority to, use the military the way he sees fit if it protects the United States. It may seem like it's a war, but until we tell y'all that we're at war, it's not a war.
Girl, go get the fuck him. He is at war. He fucking up everything over there. Go find that man. I don't understand what you're talking about. He is at war. What else would it be?
It's a military operation.
So y'all just gonna let him do whatever he wants, is what I'm basically hearing.
As long as he's not declaring war, yes, we're gonna let him do whatever.
He's supposed to be Congress, and that's probably exactly what those idiots are thinking. Okay, why haven't they stopped him already? Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to put an overlay on this because I don't have permission to use this footage.
UCLA. This man emailed Dr. Mark Tremo, a current professor at UCLA. This man emailed Epstein on numerous occasions, one of them to explain in detail how to get newborns to suck their pacifiers harder, which is by playing a recording of their mother, or what sounds like their mother, to trigger a feeding response. This monster also works at Los Robles Hospital in Thousand Oaks, California, a UCLA affiliated hospital where his office is at.
He's also a racist piece of shit. Look at this email he sent about Barack and Michelle Obama.
Now, I've emailed UCLA and the hospital. I suggest you guys do too. But see, these people losing their jobs is not justice. They need to be locked away for the remainder of their fucking lives and forced to do what they put their victims through every day, multiple times a day. Dr. Mark Tremo.
Now, that was the doctor right there, but I want you all to pay attention because here's what he said. Now, someone said that Barack and Michelle were in the Epstein files. Yeah, they are in the Epstein files, but not being accused of anything. They're in there for the people that were talking trash about them and always hating and always bringing them up like they were obsessed. Here's the email right here that he was talking about in the video. Okay, this is from Mark Jude Tremo. That's the doctor, December 26, 2009. So, do you think Michelle and Barack Hussein are celebrating Kwanzaa today? Okay, why would he care? All right, they're just totally obsessed with the Obamas at the end of the day. All of these people were so jealous and envious. That's just what it was. And racist, clearly. Okay, Katie Johnson talked about how many times or how Trump loved to say the N word. Okay, now with that all being said, we're going to go to some audio of her. I'm only going to play one of them because each of them is like, one of them is like 13 minutes long. I'll play the other one next time. But hold on. Let's go to Orlando Brown. Okay, I'm going to use an overlay on this. Orlando Brown is hilarious to me.
Not America look like Dubai and Germany? And why doesn't America look like Russia and Persia? And where the money go? There should be grapes, turnips, vegetables, everything on the streets every day for the homeless to eat. You're making us pay for water, you son of a... You're making us pay for grapes, apples, things that God gave us for free? Ha ha, you will burn in hell when I'm through with you. You will not be allowed in my Father's house at all. What?
He said, why does not America look like Dubai? Okay, that young man is hilarious to me. Okay, but all that he said was true, and it usually is. You know, we should not have to pay for fruits and vegetables that you can grow. But see, like I told you all before, they got rid of the female trees, which bear the fruit and all of that, and left us with the male trees that simply produce, you know, the hold on. Y'all are something else, okay? But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, they got rid of all the female trees, okay? And then they left us with the male trees so that everyone's allergies can just be aggravated, okay? Please pay attention. All right? Y'all are something else. Everybody's saying true, pretty much, okay? Exactly, excuses. Hold on. Trump held the Bible upside down, did he? Well, you know, I really didn't expect that he would ever be reading it. Now, with that all being said, let's go to the audio from Katie Johnson. And also, by the way, that's a pseudonym. That isn't her real name. And also, something that I thought was important is this young woman, you know, she ended up dropping her lawsuit against Trump due to all these death threats that she was receiving. And she has not been seen or heard from in a decade. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Is this woman even still alive? Okay, because I looked it up. I was trying to find out, you know, where she is today. But it literally says she had not been seen nor heard from in at least a decade. And this audio that I'm going to play for you is from 2016. She was trying to warn people before Trump became the president. But sadly, you know, he still became the president anyway. And then here we are again. Okay, so likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. All right, let me pull up the receipts. Okay, here we go.
That I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that, you know, she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. You know, I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me, so I wore that wig, and Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either Donald Trump knew that I was 13.
And you all remember what Trump said to that? When they asked him what he had in common with his daughter, he said sex. What kind of weirdo says that? Okay, what kind of weirdo says that? I find it all interesting. Aqua Girl Rising said, when I was little, there was fruit trees everywhere. I'm planting trees soon. Yes, there was absolutely fruit trees everywhere, beloved. There absolutely was. Okay. And you could go outside to your backyard or front yard and you could pick blueberries. Well, I don't remember blueberries, but definitely blackberries. Okay. Remember honeysuckles? We used to go and pick pears from out of the trees in the woods because my grandmother used to make wine out of them. So I'm just saying, you can't find any of this stuff now at the end of the day. And like I said, they got rid of the female trees and then they left us with the ones that only produce pollen. So everybody's allergies are just exasperated. Now, that being said, let's go to this interview that Katie Johnson did. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So sister said, we used to pick blackberries and sold them by the jar. Really? We were too busy eating them, but that's a good idea. Okay, now this is the young lady who said that Trump did nefarious things to her when she was 13. I'm going to put an overlay on this. Okay, so let's get into it.
I knew that I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me, so I wore that wig, and Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter. Go. And the reason I'm coming out now is when it happened originally, I just wanted to forget about the whole incident. And when I saw that he was running for president, I felt it was my responsibility to come out and tell our country what kind of man this person is. I don't think that he should even be the dog catcher, let alone running the greatest country in the world.
I played that clip of Katie Johnson's testimony in 2024, but I thought I would bring it back because this document is included in the second dump of the Epstein files. And though there are a lot of 13-year-old girls' children that are featured in these documents, this story sounds exactly like Katie Johnson's. Katie Johnson got so many death threats, she ended up dropping her case. So these are technically still allegations because they never got the chance to prove it in court. And I believe she hasn't been heard from since.
Sadly, she hasn't been heard from. Like, I really have questions. I really have questions. Where is this woman? Okay. Let's continue.
Musk didn't tell the world about Trump and Epstein. It was Katie Johnson in her 2016 testimony against Donald Trump for essaying her as a 13-year-old girl at Epstein's parties. I don't know how anyone could deny that Donald Trump and Epstein wouldn't be connected, just given that they're very successful businessmen in New York City around the same time. So obviously they're going to be in the same circles. If you haven't seen Katie Johnson's testimony, her name is an alias to protect her identity, and it's also very triggering. So I will summarize it for you. But again, it's triggering. So she got into the mix because when she was 13 years old, she wanted to be a model. And she met a woman who said that she could make a lot of money and get a lot of exposure modeling at these parties. The parties in question, the Epstein parties. She talks about the first time that she goes, she was forced to fully undress and perform actions to Epstein, who also tried to perform actions onto her. Additionally, every time she went to the party, she was forced to perform actions on Donald Trump, who supposedly took a liking to her because of her resemblance to his own daughter. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second. One of the things she was forced to do to Donald Trump is live out one of his fantasies, which was walking in on two of his maids, hooking up, and then threatening to deport one of them if she does not perform actions onto him. When she did this, it was her, a 13-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old Hispanic girl forced to be in this situation with her. And in her testimony, she says that when Donald Trump was yelling, threatening to deport this 12-year-old girl, they had no idea if it was just an act or if he was being dead serious if they didn't do what he wanted. Doesn't that make you think about Donald Trump's actions today? How badly Donald Trump wants to deport people from this country? But more than that, it makes me so worried for every female immigrant in this country. Because when I've seen the prison camps, it's all been men. And it makes me wonder, are they not deporting women too? or what is happening with them, because Donald Trump clearly gets a very specific type of pleasure from this. One of the truly most horrific parts, though, is that she lost her to Donald Trump, not consensually. And after it happened, when she asked Donald Trump what happens if she gets pregnant, he supposedly threw money at her and screamed, "Go get an abortion." She would later drop the case because she claimed that she feared for her own life, which makes sense because just in general, most women who have been SA'd are afraid to bring their abuser to court because they know that there is already a bias towards the abuser, because people don't always believe women, especially a woman who's claiming something happened to her when she was 13 years old and who has no proof. And especially when the person who has the ability to intimidate her out of it is one of the richest people on earth who literally has any resources possible to intimidate her out of that court case. But unfortunately, none of this matters because we have given Donald Trump immunity from the very laws of America that he is supposed to protect.
Isn't it such a shame? Okay, isn't it such a darn shame? But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you.
A fantasy where he walked in on his maids, basically making out, and that it was some type of fantasy for him. So she asked, I mean, I was at that point, I was like, I don't want to be involved with anything that has to do with him. But she's like, you were just basically the other one. So there's nothing that you will have to do. Just don't, he's requesting you to be involved. So I reluctantly, I felt like I didn't have a choice there, but it was basically, he's walking in, his two maids. I was one of the maids. I was the white maid. And there was a Spanish girl, Maria, who was the Hispanic maid. And we were making out, and he walks in and he gets really angry and threatens to call immigration on Maria if she doesn't come over and make things right and give him a blowjob. So while she is over there giving him a blowjob, I am just trying to, I'm supposed to look scared, like, oh no, and cleaning up things and pretending.
Do y'all hear this? Absolutely nefarious, okay?
Like, I'm trying to go back to my job as a maid. And then he's being so rude to Maria. I felt so bad for her. Even though I guess it just didn't seem like a fantasy. It didn't seem like it's the weirdest fantasy as far as that. He was threatening to call immigration on her. So that she didn't know how to, she wasn't even near going down to give him, I was done. And so I said that I didn't, I had to go over there or else he was going to call immigration on Maria. I didn't know if it was true or not, but I felt that, he said that if I didn't show her how to perform oral sex on him, that, I always didn't, it wasn't a game. It just felt like it wasn't a game. Yeah. The one night that I had the blonde wig on, he mentioned that I looked like, that I reminded him of his daughter. And actually
Okay, so fantasizing about his daughter. This man is a whole sick freak. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. But at the end of the day, it's all so nefarious at the end of the day, okay? Please. Donald Trump is a sick person, in my opinion. Now, they can sit there and lie all they want and say that there's nothing to see here, folks, but there's a whole lot to see here. And the only reason some of these claims are unsubstantiated or unverified is because they chose not and still choose not to investigate them as legitimate claims. Now, they know darn well that supposedly Katie Johnson's testimony was used to help convict Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, that same testimony could have been used to convict Donald Trump, I'm pretty sure. But no, They didn't want that. They protected him because they already know that the house of cards would all come crumbling down if he goes down. But he's eventually going to go down, okay? Let's pray for his demise. At the end of the day, all of these PDF files need to be aired out, and they need to be sent to prison where they absolutely belong. I don't care about them losing their jobs, their titles, their positions of power. They need to be in somebody's prison is where they belong, period. Okay, now with that all being said, this lady right here is talking about her MAGA family members and how obtuse they are, clearly, and how you have to be so careful when you're trying to tell them the truth about things, because clearly they don't want to hear it. They suffer from cognitive dissonance, if you ask me.
Talking about Katie Johnson again is important because MAGA has no idea that the FBI interviewed her 4 times and have no idea that her testimony was so credible that it was used to prosecute and convict Ghislaine Maxwell. They don't know that part. And let me pause you right here. Think really hard how you approach this information to those that still support MAGA. How's your tone? How's your posture? Are you asking it in a gentle way? Are you bringing it to their attention, not being like, hey, remember when I brought this back up, back in the news again? That is not the way to do it, as much as your ego wants you to. I get it. But they are brainwashed, okay? And it's really important how you go about bringing this information to them. So that's why it's important to talk about Katie Johnson again, because they have no idea about the fact that she was interviewed 4 times and her testimony was used to prosecute and convict Ghislaine Maxwell. This is why I think talking.
Okay, absolutely crazy. All right. Lindell said, Queen, isn't there a clip of him saying that him dating his daughter in some late night show? Well, he did say something. Yeah, there's clips of him saying all sorts of inappropriate things about his daughter. Okay. He said that if she wasn't his daughter, he'd probably date her or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. He said those sorts of things, beloved. Okay, but here's another person who accused Trump. This is a Black woman who said that Trump forcibly kissed her when she was working for him. And I find that interesting because didn't he call us the N-word and all of that, according to Epstein's emails? Let's get into it.
Enthusiastic staffer on Donald Trump's presidential campaign. But in a new lawsuit, she says that on August 24th, 2016, then candidate Donald Trump, seen there that day, quote, forcibly kissed her without her consent as he exited an RV in Florida while on the campaign trail. Johnson's lawsuit also alleges the Trump campaign paid her less than her counterparts because she's a Black woman. The White House strenuously denies both claims. Sarah Sanders called the sexual misconduct accusation absurd on its face and said it is contradicted by, quote, multiple highly credible eyewitness accounts. We do not know what exactly happened on that day in Florida. There are, in fact, 3 people who say they were present and deny Johnson's claim. But the claim is not, as Sanders suggests, absurd on its face. The conduct that Johnson describes is the same conduct that the president himself bragged about on the infamous Access Hollywood tape that came out 6 weeks after the alleged incident. And her account echoes stories from at least 15 other women who accused the president of kissing them and touching their bodies without their consent. And here to tell her story on camera for the first time is former Trump campaign staffer Alva Johnson. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So before we get to August 24th, I just want to ask, how'd you get on the campaign? What motivated you to be a part of the Trump campaign?
Well, I thought it may have been a good idea to have a businessman in office. When I joined the campaign, there were still 16 other candidates, Republican candidates. So I didn't think he really had a chance of winning, but I felt that it would be good to support a businessman. I thought that maybe some business acumen would be needed.
And what was your experience on the campaign before this happened, as you allege, on August 24th?
I started off as the director of outreach of coalitions for the state of Alabama. I threw one of the largest rallies during that time. The
Sessions one? Where
the Sessions one with the 33,000, yes. I
sat here at this desk and we covered it live.
And so I feel like I helped legitimize him in some ways because of successes like that. And then afterwards, I traveled to various states during the primaries. I was in Indiana, I was in Wisconsin, Utah, and helped secure the delegates and help win Indiana, which also gave him the GOP nomination.
Tell me what you say happened to you on August 24th, the day that you allege in the lawsuit the president forcibly kissed you.
So I usually, I always like to make sure that our volunteers are the ones that get to spend that time with him. That's not what I'm there for. They're the ones that making the phone calls. So I had my distance. I was over in the corner. I wasn't close to him. I was wearing a baseball cap, and but he had to pass me on his way exiting from the RV. And so as he passed me, I looked at him and I said, "Now you go and do a good job, go kick ass," because I've been away from my family for a long time. And so he stops, he grabs my hand and he starts looking at me. And then as he's looking at me, he's holding my hand. He said, "I'm going to do a good job. I'm not going to let you down. I know you've been away from your family and I appreciate what you're doing." And he's holding my hand. And then he starts coming towards me. And so he's still holding my hand. And then I just had a lot of internal dialogue. I'm like, okay, is he going to hug me? And then he keeps coming closer. And I'm like, okay, is he gonna hug me? I'm like, oh my God, I think he's going to kiss me. Because he was coming directly for my face. I mean, this is with the bill of a baseball cap. And so he just starts getting closer. And then when I realized that he's going to kiss my lips, I turned my mouth and he kissed me. He caught me right in the corner of my mouth. And I was just kind of frozen. I didn't know how to process it. I knew it was inappropriate because I worked in human resources. So I knew that it was completely inappropriate. It was gross and creepy. I can sometimes still see those lips, and so he walked out and
Were there other people right around you at that point?
Yes, there were 2 other women that were still on the RV. There was only 3 women on the RV, myself, Pam Bundy, and Carrie Giorno. And so
This is inside the RV.
This is inside of the RV. And most of the volunteers had kind of filed out because they had to file out in order for him to exit.
Was there any debrief? Was there any eye contact exchanged after that?
Well, Pam kind of looked at me and Karen Giorno, who I reported to at the time, kind of grabbed my elbow and kind of congratulatory. And I didn't feel that way. I was really grossed out.
Pam Bondi, I should say, says the following: as a career prosecutor and attorney general, had I seen anything improper, I would have taken action. I was with the president of the RV, and these allegations are false. So she's an eyewitness there, and she says you are not telling the truth.
I wish you would have taken action. But
Of course, they're going to lie for Trump. Pam Bondi's the same bitch who took a $25,000 donation for her campaign from Trump. And then all of a sudden, the lawsuit that she was supposed to be a part of just went away. She decided not to be a part of it. Okay. And why was that? Because she was paid off by Trump. That $25,000 wasn't just a campaign donation. In my opinion, I do believe it was a bribe and that she accepted. These people in Trump's administration are not to be believed on any for anything that they say. They're all liars, thieves, and just a whole bunch of shady characters with no moral fortitude. They're morally bankrupt. Okay, then that's my opinion. Now, with that all being said, I see some of y'all going in on that lady saying she's not on code. You're all saying all this, that, and the third. Why are y'all going in on this poor woman who was clearly traumatized by that orange devil trying to put his lips upon hers? Why are y'all going in? Nice says, girl, you should have worked for Kamala. That would have made more sense. Well, Kamala didn't hire her. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, haven't we all worked for someone racist? I'm sure you have. If you worked in corporate America specifically, okay? Many of us work with racist people, have worked for racist people right at the end of the day because we needed a check. We needed a job. So I'm not going to sit here and judge her because she worked for Trump. At the end of the day, if she enjoyed had she enjoyed the kiss that he gave her, then I would be looking at her with a whole side eye. Okay? Because clearly she didn't. All right, so clearly she didn't. People take jobs where they can. Y'all don't know how much money she was getting paid or whatever. At the end of the day, I'm not going to shame anyone or go in on them for the choices they make when it comes to their jobs. Because like I said, let he who's without sin cast the first stone. Y'all love going in on the victims. That's what I noticed about you all. Some of y'all like to go in on the victims. Why are y'all going in on the victims? Some of y'all also like to go in on the white people who speak against this stuff. I have several questions. Why are you going in on them? The only white people you should be going in on is MAGA. The racist devils. That's who you should be going in on. See, you wonder why you don't have allies, or you say you don't have allies. Well, when people try to be allies, many of Black people go in on them and act like they have something to gain. They don't have anything to gain by speaking up for Black people. Okay? They don't have anything to gain by speaking up for us. Don't y'all see that by now? Where's that going to get them? Clout? Is that what you think they want? Clout, and to be ostracized from their own communities? Because then you have other white people who are clearly racist going in on them. Okay? Sometimes y'all need to sit back somewhere and just think about what you say before you say it. Why are you attacking the people who are coming forward with information? That says to me that you just don't want to do anything. Okay, at the end of the day, and even if that's not how you feel, that's how it comes off. Okay, I'm just telling you at the end of the day. Now, I'm not going in on anyone. I'm just saying that maybe you should sit back and think and marinate before you say something. Because to be critical of someone who's telling a story about something that Trump did that's nefarious, why are y'all going in on them? Okay? Why are y'all going in on them? That lady, whether she worked for Trump or not, she clearly has some moral fortitude because she came forward and outed him about what he did. Now, many people would not have done that because they would have wanted to keep their paycheck. All right? So let's call a spade and stop painting narratives about people whom we don't even know. All right? So with that all being said, let's talk about... And here's the thing. I will say that some of you absolutely, continue to cape for raccoons amongst us. Like some of y'all still like 50 Cent. 50 Cent only talks about people who look like him. Where's the smoke for the rest of them? Where's the smoke for MAGA? Where's the smoke for Trump? Why didn't he do a documentary about Epstein or any of those other people who don't look like him who are accused of the same things that Diddy was in fact accused of? Yeah, I'm just wondering. Okay, let's continue because now I want to talk about the Long Island chef who worked for Epstein. All right, remember when I showed you all the file about when they were making the beef jerky, and I told you all that at the end of the day, they had this person by the name of Francis Derby who was teaching people how to make the beef jerky. Okay, that I do believe was made of human flesh, and so do many other people believe. But with that all being said, of course, we can't confirm it. But the bottom line is this person is a famous chef, okay, and actually had a restaurant or worked at a restaurant called the Cannibal. Now, do y'all think that's a coinky dink? Let's talk about it. All right. So a hotshot Long Island chef worked as Jeffrey Epstein's personal cook and made multiple trips to the PDF files' private island. This is according to newly released government files. Francis Derby was employed as Epstein's high-flying private chef from May to November of 2012, satisfying his boss's insatiable appetite for jerky. Okay, before becoming the top cook at New York City's now closed meat hotspot known as the Cannibal, okay, according to hundreds of emails recently released by the DOJ. Now, Derby, who appears in the Epstein files more than 1,300 times, is now back working on Long Island at the ritzy Halliard restaurant in Greenport. I wouldn't eat there if I was paid to, but let me continue. There are no indications in the messages that Derby was aware of any wrongdoing, and the chef has denied all knowledge of Epstein's illicit activities. Well, isn't that what they're all doing? Isn't that what they're all doing? Okay? They're all saying they had no idea, but of course they had ideas. Okay, please miss us with it. This was in 2012 when he worked for the man. How in the hell did he not have an idea when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2008 and given a sweetheart deal? Okay, we all knew about that. You mean tell me he worked for the man and didn't know? Of course he knew. Stop the lies, Mr. Derby. Okay, and I wonder what recipes he had in that jerky that he was teaching people how to make. Yeah, I just wonder, okay? Working at a restaurant called Cannibal. Wonder why it's closed all of a sudden, okay? But don't you all remember about 5 years or so ago, I told you all that there was a restaurant that was alleged, I couldn't substantiate it, to serve human meat. Didn't I tell y'all that? Now, I said that could be just a myth, but at the end of the day, we don't know what these devils will do, because what I do remember is that it was reported that Katy Perry, and I can't substantiate it, but it was reported years ago that Katy Perry talked about how human flesh was delicious or it had protein or something like that. Do y'all remember? Because I sure do. But let me continue. Now, in May of 2012, I was hired as a cook for Jeffrey Epstein. This is what Derby said in a statement. At the time I accepted the position, I had no knowledge of who Mr. Epstein was and was unaware of any allegations of misconduct. Please miss us with it. Here's how you know he's full of crap. Had he not known who this man was, I guarantee you he would have looked him up to see who he was, because this man's a top chef. He wouldn't just be working for any old body. He'd want to first make sure that the person had money and that this was someone who would pay him what he was asking for, I'm sure. He would also want to know things about this person 9 times out of 10. So please miss us with it, sir. Now, he says, my role was to procure food, plan menus or plan meals, and provide culinary service. My responsibilities were in the kitchen. My only time outside the kitchen was serving meals in the dining room and staff quarters, and I was directed to avoid common areas. I left the position of my own accord in November of 2012. Epstein had been a convicted felon and registered sex offender since 2008. Okay, so please, like I told you all, I don't believe a word of it. Now, the DOJ files indicate that during Derby's work for the SEX Fiend, is what they call him, the chef made multiple trips to Little St. James at Epstein's behest in his capacity as private chef, which Epstein called Little St. Jeff's, okay, but which locals dubbed PDF File Island. Now, during his short time with Epstein, Derby sent tons of emails to numerous redacted people about cooking, properly storing, and transporting bizarre, massive amounts of jerky for his boss. Epstein said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. That was in an email from October of 2012. Okay, that said that he has 6 bags of it downstairs in the freezer for the next trip. I believe it should be enough to get him through. That's what the chef Derby said. That same month, Epstein wrote to Derby complaining about the lack of jerky that he had, and telling the chef, I only eat one thing. Okay, another email claimed Epstein, who compared the taste of babies to cream cheese with his associates in a previous exchange, went through more than 70 pounds of jerky in a span of only a couple of weeks. Do y'all hear that? How in the hell do you go through 70 pounds, of jerky in a couple of weeks? In another email thread, a message from a redacted person asked Derby if he would be willing to teach others how to make his famous jerky before his last day on the job, to which the chef responds that he'd be willing to teach a class if Epstein agrees to give him an extra paycheck, which obviously he did because he supposedly taught the class according to the emails. And I've shown them to you all previously. Okay, now, with that all being said, evil is real. Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention. Absolutely. And these people are sick and demented, and they all need to be in prison. Why are they sitting there trying to act as though we're all ignorant and don't have sense enough to know that they absolutely knew what the hell Jeffrey Epstein was doing, and they were doing it too. Many of these people were. Okay, they want to keep telling us, oh, there's nothing to see here. We can't find any proof that these people are doing anything. Well, why don't you talk to the witnesses? Why don't you conduct investigations? Okay. Why don't they go dig up the 70 acres, I do believe it is, at Zorro Ranch? Now, let's continue, because now we're going to talk about 50 Cent. Now we're going to talk about 50 Cent. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Where shall I start? Okay, here we go.
People out there who trying to sit here and say, oh, T.I. and his kids, they just doing this for clout. None of these songs is even on streaming platforms. And I'm not mad if they sit here and say they're doing it for clout, then that kind of makes me question, are you a real 50 Cent fan? Because for most people who live outside of the tri-state area, one of their first big 50 Cent songs was called How to Rob, where he was dissing everybody in the music industry. So if you sitting here saying they doing this for clout, then well, 50 Cent whole career started off of clout, if that's what you're gonna call it. You can't sit here and one shout out to Domani, because I said this maybe 2 weeks ago, and the video is starting to pick up and go viral now because he's having this back and forth, and he inserted himself into the conversation, and now more people are getting familiar with his pen. He put out a project during the Valentine's Day weekend, and I sit here and bigged him up and talked about how smooth it was, and you kind of realistically got to see every form of a pure artist when it came to Domani in this Miss Jackson song. Him, of course, sampling the Sorry Miss Jackson Outkast and playing around with that. But even in a diss song, and I feel like, to be honest, if we excluding like the whole, back and forth between Kendrick and Drake situation, this may be one of the hardest diss songs I've heard in a long time. And the reason why I say that is because he took his time. And that's, again, when we sitting here saying his skill level of him actually making music, this is what he do. He takes his time. He talking through the songs, and it's just such a smooth tone where you can kind of get to even see the difference between like him and his dad, him and his younger brother. You can see they more aggressive with it, and they more disrespectful with the words. And his is more like literally like somebody's writing an open letter, just taking his time. And that is, again, when we talking about like pure artistry, like not just being a rapper, but I'm an actual artist. I'm taking my time. You're going to feel every last one of these words. These words are going to mean something to all the people who listen to it, and you gonna hear it, and you squinching your face up like it's still an aggressive rap bar, but it's not even in that tone. And then again, for all the super hypocritical 50 Cent fans saying, oh, he don't gotta sit here and go make no diss songs, he too busy making shows. I guarantee you, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, all the New York podcasters who saying 50 Cent don't have to rap, you are the same podcasters who sit here and trash every 50 Cent show. Y'all don't watch Power. You don't big up Power. You don't talk about Power. You didn't talk about BMF. You don't talk about Raising Kanan on your shows, and shows that y'all put out you put out multiple shows per week. So you have multiple opportunities to talk about 50 Cent shows. So if you're telling me you don't speak on his shows, tell me why he don't got to rap then. Because you obviously don't care about the TV shows, because if you cared about the TV shows, you would big up the TV shows on your show. So to sit here and give a sad cop out and sit here and say because he's working on TV shows that people like y'all don't talk about, because all the people who looking for, realistically, the crazy thing is all the people who are looking for 50 Cent to actually rap, get in the booth, 9 times out of 10, those are the same people who actually watch 50 Cent shows. So that's just kind of crazy to get to see how hypocritical fans are. But again, shout outs to Domani, just absolutely showing his true skill level and making people be aware of how fire he really is.
Let me tell you all something. Domani flamed 50 without even using a curse word. The young man didn't even have to curse. He did it very respectfully, but disrespectfully. I want y'all to pay attention. And at the end of the day, here's the thing. All of these people that are caping for 50 and saying, oh, he doesn't have to respond. Oh, he don't need to rap. Well, here's the problem with that. 50 has absolutely dissed people before. He's made rap songs dissing plenty of rappers, okay, all in one song. We know how he did Ja Rule, so all of a sudden now he doesn't have time to rap. Oh, I'm sorry. Why? Has he gotten so old that now he doesn't need to? Is that what they're trying to say? Because he still has time to post memes. If he has time to post memes and start all this beef, he should have time to get in that booth. But he doesn't want to get in that booth because he knows he cannot compete. And you can't compete when you don't compare. And he clearly does not. Okay? And that's just what it is. Now, they can continue to make a myriad of excuses. And they tried to say that T.I. started this. I want you all to pay attention to how people tried to paint false narratives. So they tried to twist the narrative and say, well, why is the Harris family so mad? What did 50 do? They're that mad just because 50 didn't want to do a versus? I said, you know darn well that's not what this is about. It's about him disrespecting Tiny. That's why they're mad. They didn't care whether he did the verses or not. Stop trying to act like this is over verses. It's because he disrespected that man's wife. And so what did he think was going to happen? Now, if 50 Cent had a wife, maybe T.I. would have disrespected her back, but he doesn't have one. Okay, does 50 Cent even have a family? Does he even have anyone to love him? Have we ever seen him at a dinner with his family? No, we haven't. Okay, because 50 Cent doesn't get any love from anybody except Tony Yayo. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. And by the way, Domani isn't even Tiny's son. Okay, Domani is T.I.'s son with another woman. And I can't remember her name off the top, but that's not even Tiny's child. So what does that tell you? Okay.
A lot of y'all, I understand why 50 Cent would just want to wave the white flag and throw in the towel with this beef. Because now T.I. and Tiny's youngest daughter has entered the chat, and so did Rick Ross. Now, I'm not going to play the clip of T.I. and Tiny's youngest daughter because I just feel like she's too young to be put out there. But in the clip, she was singing, "I do not play by my mother. You cannot play by my mother." It was mad adorable. I'm not going to lie. I loved it. I loved it. But Rick Ross first commented saying, "Miss Jackson noticed is hot" under Domani's diss track towards 50 Cent titled Miss Jackson. And thank you to all those who corrected me last time because Domani is Tiny's son, but T.I.'s stepson. I don't want to.
He had it right the first time. Okay, he let people tell him the wrong thing. See, that's why I get annoyed when people try to correct me and don't even know what they're talking about. Okay, please pay attention. But let's continue.
But Rick Ross first commented saying, "Miss Jackson noticed is hot" under Domani's diss track towards 50 Cent titled Miss Jackson. And thank you to all those who corrected me last time because Domani is Tiny's son, but T.I.'s stepson. I don't want to disrespect his mother, but I love it even more because it just shows how strong their family bond is. And if that wasn't enough, Rick Ross also commented under King Harris's post saying, "I need that T in a 3X, little bro." The t-shirt being the one with 50 Cent's mother on it. I have to say that 50 Cent met his match this time with the Harris family because they on his head top.
Yeah, he did meet his match because 50's nothing but a bully. Okay. There is a thin line between being petty and being a bully, and 50 has turned out to be a whole bully. And at the end of the day, he absolutely met his match. Now, let's talk about him beating up these women. Okay, let's talk about him beating up all these women. Multiple women 50 Cent put hands on. Is this y'all's king? Okay, is this y'all's favorite rapper? I'm sorry. You can never say such about T.I. because that's never even been a thing for him. Okay, real men don't put the paws on women. Let's get into it. All right? New York, stand up. Because the Queen Ninjas love to try to defend 50 Cent. Well, let's defend this. These punches thrown. 50 Cent punches female fan in Baltimore, then has the nerve to invite her to dance on stage. Honey, he would have gotten a lawsuit straight from the A. Okay, please pay attention. Curtis Jackson III, known to most as 50 Cent, stopped at Baltimore Soundstage to perform on Saturday. In an odd twist of events, the world-famous rapper punched a female fan who pulled him off the stage, then made her a peace offering by letting her come up to dance. 50 was here touring with the Locks as part of their national tour. So in a crystal clear video from TMZ, the rapper stepped to the edge of the stage and offered dap high fives to fans. However, one female fan was so excited about the interaction that she yanked the rapper by the wrist, causing him to lose his balance. As he was falling, 50 Cent cocked his arm back and took a swing at the woman's chest. The ugly strike coincided with the sound of a blaring horn. Now, the group surrounding the girl can be heard booing as security personnel pulled 50 Cent back and stepped down to check on the woman's welfare. Seconds later, the rapper said into the mic, "Come on, tell her to come on over here. Tell her to come on here." Beckoning with his hand, he receives the gently crowd-surfed fan, and once she's on stage, whispers something in her ear. "Please don't sue me." Is that what you whispered? Okay. Evidently, the opportunity was enough to appease her for the evening. A cutaway in the clip shows her twerking before hundreds in the crowd shortly afterward. Honey, I wouldn't have gotten up there. Time will tell if Jackson receives a summons to return to Baltimore to address the incident. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, 50 puts the paws on his fans. All right, that's what he did. All right, so now with that all being said, let's continue. And the lady's name was Donetta Kerr. 50 Cent punch victim lawyers up for a lawsuit. Yeah, so she did sue him. Okay, Donetta Kerr has a law firm behind her that will sue 50 Cent early next week. Now, this was in 2017. Okay, so not that long ago. She'll also sue the Locks with whom 50 performed. Okay, now so TMZ broke the story. 50 was performing and the woman grabbed his arm and pulled him off stage. He retaliated by giving her a vicious punch. Donetta later went on stage and twerked, leading people to believe the beef was squashed. But no, Anthony Warren Brown tells us Donetta went to the hospital the next day and then hired him on Monday. I would have gone to the hospital that night, honey. Okay. Brown calls 50 Cent cowardly. Yeah, because that's what he is. All right. And that's exactly what he is. So please pay attention. He's going to punch that woman and then have the nerve to get up on stage. Aqua Girl Rising said, Messiah has T.I.'s personality. King has Tiny's personality, LOL. I don't think that King has Tiny's personality at all. Tiny is quiet and laid back, and King talks a whole lot of trash. He acts more like T.I., in my opinion, and Messiah is nice and quiet and laid back. Messiah clearly does not act like T.I. That's just my opinion, beloved. Okay, that's just my opinion. Messiah, we rarely hear anything about him. He's very quiet. He reminds me of Muhammad Ali too, by his looks. Okay, now with that all been said, let's continue. They just said, why she sue the Locks? Because they were there and he was on stage with them, honey. Okay, at the end of the day, if 50 had punched me, I would have sued everybody on stage too. Okay, that's just what you do. All right, that's just, y'all know that's what people do. Sit down somewhere acting like y'all playing, like y'all don't know. Okay, I'd have sued him, Locks, the DJ, the venue, and everybody else. Sit down, honey. When you're trying to get your coins. When you're trying to get your coins, that's what you do. Y'all see these lawsuits all have multiple names on them 9 times out of 10. They suing the record label. Okay, anybody affiliated, please. Now, I'm just being facetious, but seriously, that's likely why she sued them. Okay, I wouldn't have sued Locks. I love the Locks. But let's continue.
On or off. And this is why, at least as a mother. Oh, you can't tell me Tiny's not a wonderful person or a nice person. Rather, the camera is on or off. And this is why, at least as a mother, but this is why, right? I expect King to step up for his mom. And I'm not debating tip 50 cents, who cares? Here's the thing. I expect King to speak up for his mom. But some of y'all may not know that Domani is her stepson. He has a whole separate mother. And when he's stepping up to the plate, that's love. Because sometimes, it could look like everyone getting along, but I don't think Domani would put himself out there, coming at 50 cents with the family. If the family, regardless how we feel, think, or whatever, nah, that's true love right there. And for him to love her just as much, because if you listen to the song, he refers to her as mom. Mom, not my stepmom, but mom. So that tells me already when it comes to being a mother, oh yeah, she loved them boys. She loved them kids, and she's a good person. Say what you wanna. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, you.
Okay, that speaks volumes. All right. So that all been said. Now listen. Since y'all brought up Messiah, let's go to this clip. Now, I'm going to put an overlay on this, and I'm going to also put a little music in the background because this is from their show. Hold on. Here's a clip where T.I. pranked Messiah. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Do I have their names right? Isn't Messiah the oldest? Hold on. Yeah, that's the oldest son, right? Hold on, let me just double check real quick. Yeah, exactly. Messiah is the oldest. That's the one that, to me, he puts me in the mind of Muhammad Ali. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, your son said you was tired of T.I. in 2006. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that, beloved. Let's continue, and I'm gonna put an overlay on this because here's where they got the meme from with T.I. laughing so hard, in case y'all missed it. Now hold on, because y'all know how YouTube be hating on the queen. So let me just add some music in the background. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Messiah is the oldest. Thank you, beloved. Yeah, he's 26 at this point. Okay, here we go.
I'm literally today years old finding out where this meme of T.I. came from. I'm gonna show the clip.
Hey, it's good. All on my lips.
the fact that that tickled him that bad. The fact that that tickled him that bad is so funny to me. Like, it literally made me laugh. But I just love seeing Black fathers enjoy being a father. So I thought that was cute. I'm literally today.
That was hilarious. He had Messiah biting too. They were eating candy apples. If y'all can see it through the overlay, they were eating candy apples. And then he gave Messiah, he basically gave Messiah a caramel covered onion, and he bit into it thinking that it was a candy apple. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's continue. Hold on, let me cut this music off. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, 50 Cent could never, okay? His son doesn't even like him. And here's the thing. King also went in on 50 Cent because there was a picture of him with his teenage son sitting on his lap. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Hold on. Hold on, I thought I cut that darn music off. Hold on, beloveds. Okay. Yeah, here's the picture right here. Let me go to this real quick. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Now, why is that young man sitting on his lap? He's a whole teenager. Okay? This is not how you raise a boy to be a man. I'm sorry. Make it all make sense. In a wild post, T.I.'s son King Harris took a shot at an alleged photo of 50 Cent with his youngest son, Sire, sitting on his lap. King's caption was ruthless. It says, "You think you raising a man, having him sit in your lap as a teenager?" Okay? That's a 304. He called him a HOE, sir. Okay, at 50 Cent. This is not AI. He said, P.S., this is not AI. Well, it's definitely not AI. I'm just wondering why he has his son sitting on his lap and he's a whole teenager. I mean, you should not be babying boys. That's what makes them soft. Okay? And so anyway, I have to agree with King on that. Now, let's continue.
Where was all this support and love when Christian King Combs made a diss track against 50, man? Y'all weren't feeling that. Y'all basically told him to go sit at the kiddie table with the tater tots and chicken fingers and Uno cards. Stay out of grown folk business. For real. But one of the most interesting things about this is that Kent, like, he doesn't get in the booth. He don't make music for these type of situations. All he does is just meme you and joke you to death. You know what I'm saying? Like, his whole thing is to take away your cultural identity, destroy your reputation, make you the joke of the internet. And we saw that. We saw that when he did that with Big Meech. Little Meech is broke. Big Meech is a snitch. You know what I mean? Take away everything that makes them numb. He been doing it to Ja Rule for years. You know what I'm saying? But ain't gonna work this time. Once 50 pulled Tiny into it, then you saw King step up and he got memes, jokes, and music. And then most recently, you got Domani step up and had a heck of a song with Miss Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Reminded me a lot of Kendrick's Meet the Grams. And so, T.I., on the other hand, T.I. stay in the booth, that whole family in the booth, and it's brought a spotlight to his family musically and unity-wise, right? And so, man, his family going crazy. His family going crazy with it. He want the smoke. He got a new single out, got an album coming out. So the only person that stands to win here is T.I. And speaking of Tiny, 50 Cent pulled that card with Tiny, but don't get it twisted. Social media has not been that nice to Tiny over the years. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like it ain't been no memes showing Tiny, in a bad light. You know what I mean? 50 Cent ain't the first person to do that. Y'all just got upset about it. Some of y'all same ones got upset about it was the same ones hitting the laughing emoji when stuff been posted over the years. But I digress. But either way, 50 Cent has nothing to gain nor lose. He always gonna be known as the biggest troll, you know what I'm saying, who a troll mogul of sorts. So, and T.I. has already won because T.I. has already shown his family in this unified dynamic. He's already showed his family like you don't come for the Harris boys. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, it is what it is. Y'all be safe.
And I'll tell you something else. Here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention. Now, 50 had the audacity, dare I say, to try to go in on Tiny. But let us not forget, because some of you clearly forgot, or maybe you didn't even know. But I'm sorry, not T.I., but 50 dated Chelsea Handler. Okay, I'm sorry. He dated Chelsea Handler. Now, I'm sorry, but Tiny looks better than her. Okay, that's who 50 Cent dated. So I'm sorry if he wants to throw shots. We could easily throw some at him. Please make it all make sense, okay? All right, I'm just saying. Now let's continue.
Harris may have dropped the hardest diss track of the three Harrises, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because I don't want his cadence and peaceful demeanor to fool you. He starts off strong, and I really want to talk about this because not only does he title the song Miss Jackson, but he also uses parts of Outkast's Miss Jackson. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Who? To talk about him. And I love that because, of course, yes, 50 Cent's last name is Miss Jackson, so you titled the song Miss Jackson to talk to his mama, but also this furthers the initial thing from T.I., which is the whole New York versus Atlanta thing by you.
DJ Big Six said, what about Vivica Fox? Vivica was very attractive, okay? She was dating 50 Cent back in the day. Vivica was beautiful. Now she's done some work on herself that really, to me, takes away from her beauty. But Vivica was never ugly, honey. Chelsea Handler has always been ugly, okay? And she also suffers from a disease called no acetol. All right, please pay attention. But let's continue.
Using not only an Atlanta-based artist, but the Atlanta-based artist that really put us on the map to do the diss. I love that. His brain, smart. Now, I don't know if y'all caught it in the beginning, but he kind of calls that man's mom a sacrifice. And y'all know what that means in the industry. He says, this is who you sacrificed your life for. So at that point, I knew Domani was coming out swinging. He goes right from that into talking about how cats have 9 lives and he about to put 50 Cent on 10 because, of course, 50 Cent got Pum Pum 9 times. So he's saying, oh, one more time and it's up. And you putting me in a place to feel like I'm doing it. He starts off with the violence immediately. And that's why I said, don't let that cadence and that smooth talk fool you. That man is mad. All right. Right after that, he goes into saying that this is time sensitive. I love that because he's pretty much saying you got a small amount of time to apologize to my mama before I send them boys. Love that for him. Love that for us. Then he talks about the nervous laugh. And I love this because I feel like he's breaking down his trademark. Because not only he talks about that nervous laugh, but he also talks about you don't even drink, but you sell alcohol. He's breaking down all the things that you come to mind and think of 50 Cent and say, all that fake anyway. That laugh that you think is cute, it's a nervous laugh. And if you think about it in your head, it does kind of sound like a nervous laugh. And I think that's funny. He then talks about how in the beginning, we thought it was funny, and now we see something is wrong with you. I think a lot of us on social media have gotten to a point where 50 Cent's trolling used to be funny, but now it's kind of mean and overdone. It's kind of not even funny even when it's not mean, because it's like you do this all the time. Sometimes I do forget 50 Cent was a rapper. I'm not going to lie. So I love that he talks about that because he's talking about collectively, we see you for who you really are. All right. Right after that, I love how he comes back to the violence and says, I'm about to send that boy up to you, Miss Jackson, if he keep playing with me. Right from that, he say, because I know you're not familiar with a mother and a father. Because y'all be forgetting that these people come from a 2-parent household. Y'all not finna play with them about their mama or their daddy, especially knowing that you come from a broken home. And like King say, your mama was a J, my mama was a legend. They're furthering that family dynamic. And I love that. That's why I said, the Harris family is giving Jackson 5 from Atlanta because they're all coming together talentedly to destroy 50 Cent about their mom. I love that for them. All right. After that, he goes into this firebug thing that I love because all of them are talking about how 50 Cent allegedly, all this alleged, 50 Cent allegedly sent someone to set fire to a house that had children in it. And they, you know, street code really does says no women and children. So they, you know, and so he continues this firebug thing for the rest of the song. You cannot forget that. I'm gonna see 50 Cent and think firebug. Love that for him. Very smart. And right after that smart move, he goes into another very smart move, in my opinion, and that's the call for action. Okay, he talks about firebug, then he says, I'm gonna make your fans put the lighters up. When we put the lighters up, RIP. You get it. The violence is back. But also, he does, and I'm going to call it the Kendrick Lamar call to action, because I really do feel like Kendrick did it and not like us when he started talking about the whole don't leave your sister around him and stuff like that. But the put your lighters up if you've ever dealt with domestic violence. Put your lighters up if you've ever dealt with all of the stuff that they're alleging 50 Cent does. He names it and says, put your lighters up. A call to action and a call out to 50 Cent. He's so smart. Y'all don't understand. I really feel like Domani really studies rap, and that is why he's so good at it. He is talented because he really tries and he really studies, and that was a very smart move in my opinion, right? So then he wraps it up talking about how he's delivering his eulogy, and if you ask me, this does feel like a eulogy. The things he talks about and the way he talks about 50 Cent is really like, yeah, you can't have no response. No meme is going to be able to top this song. Either you get in the booth and do better, or that's it for you. Cuts. It's not even funny when you troll nobody no more, because we're gonna be like, don't let me call King. After that, he ends the song, one of my favorite lines, which is, next time he miss a mom, I'ma send him to you. Double entendre for me, because it's like, you took shots at my mom, you missed because she protected. But next time you take a shot and miss, I'm gonna send you to your mama. And we know what his mama has. Miss Jackson was a great body.
All right. Now, that was her breakdown. I thought it was pretty good because she did explain it very thoroughly. That being said, let's go to Shaniqua, 50's baby mom, because, you know, she still thinks to this day that he set that house on fire, and I do too. And, you know, that's why, in my opinion, his son can't stand him. Okay, that's why his son probably really can't stand him. Okay, because he tried to take out him and the mother, allegedly. All right, according to Shaniqua. Now let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
House burning now, because there's a lot of speculation, a lot of stories about the house getting burned down. You want to recap on that? You want Marquise to come in? I think Marquise is in the chat as well.
I think he wants to. One of the.
Well, let me ask you this way: what makes you say he did it though?
We got into a fight that Monday at my lawyer's office. I have a police report. He threatened me. He tried to hit me, but I ran. He threatened me. He said he was going to have someone come do something. He said, and watch how I get down. He said it. And that Friday, I do believe that was Monday. That Friday, I had to do my deposition. I was taking my piece of school. A Magnum car was following me. I don't know if you remember the Dodge Magnums, and everybody knew back then all of G-Unit members rode Dodge Magnums. Was following me to my piece of school. I ditched the car, drove to Queens and drove to my grandma's house. Mia was already in school. I get to the courthouse. I do my deposition. I come back outside. It was a guy following me, trying to intimidate me, to the point where my lawyer was so worried that she would just please be careful. So he was trying to kick me out the house, and he couldn't get me out the house. And that's another thing where he says, like, oh, he went to Suffolk County. They gave me an eviction, but I took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court allowed me to stay, so he couldn't get me out the house at the time. And then his lawyer, and I have in my deposition papers, which once I start doing my YouTube channel, I could be able to side by side and bring up stuff. His lawyer actually asked me where was my evidence, and that was the first part of the house to burn down. I don't think that was a coincidence.
Right. Who's on the house at the time when it got set on fire?
It was. That's another thing. He tried to create the narrative. It was me, my boyfriend. No man lived with me in that house. And I will repeat, no man lived with me in that house. No man, except for Marquise, and he wasn't a man at the time. He was a child. It was me, my daughter, Marquise, a family friend, and she had gotten into an argument with her husband. So it was her and her son, and my youngest sister. My mom had passed away, so I had custody of my youngest sister.
How old was your children?
He's probably about 12. Mia probably was about maybe 16, 17.
So those are minors. We had 2 minors, teenager, 3 minors. Was 4 minors. The
minors was Marquise, my daughter, my youngest sister, and yeah, I'm not gonna say his name, but yeah, it was 4 minors.
Do you think it was a move to try to scare you or try to get rid of you? What do you deep down? Like, what do you think the motive was behind to really get rid of you or to scare you out of the house? Honestly speaking,
I think it was to kill us because the time. It wasn't like it happened when the kids were in school. Maybe I was there by myself, or it happened that I was just sleeping. No one's up. It was still dark outside, to the point where when I heard the glass shatter, because what happened was Marquise was sick that day. Even though I was going to take him to school, like I said, the car was following me, but he was sick. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ditch this car. I don't feel safe taking him to school, but I'm going to take him to my grandma's house. So Marquise was sick that day. I could not sleep. And that's why I said, I don't want to get all holy roll on everybody, but that's when I say, if you don't know God is real, I feel sorry for you. Because I could not sleep. At the time, I was sleeping downstairs in the guest room. Everyone else was upstairs. I waited. Like I said, a close family friend, her husband, and they got into an argument. So I waited for her, or I slept on the couch in the family room. I brought her in the house, set her upstairs, and I stayed in the guest room downstairs. I could not sleep. I kept waking up. And so I said, Marquise is like, let me go check on him, because Marquise had a habit of throwing up in his sleep. So I said, you know what? Let me check on him. I was going to just check on him, and then I ended up getting into bed with him. But so let me just keep, because he was kept coughing. So I was like, I get scared he's gonna throw up in his sleep, and choke. Marquise's coughing kept me from being in a deep sleep, but I still was concerned about what was going on. Like I said, people were following me. They were at the courthouse, so I was concerned. But I couldn't quite get into a deep sleep. So Marquise's bedroom was in front of the house. So once I heard the glass shatter, I went to the front of the house, and it was pitch dark. I couldn't see anything. So just in that second, I came from Marquise's room to the top of the stairs. I went down maybe 3 steps, and the flames just shot up to the ceiling. It was just, we couldn't even make it downstairs.
So you're the first person that's seen the fire. What I'm getting from this, right? So
I heard the glass shatter. So my daughter said, she said she thought I broke something, because all she heard was me cursing. But for some reason, I was so enraged. I was like, this send somebody to burn the house down. So my daughter said she just heard glass and me cursing, so she just assumed that I dropped the glass or something.
Songwriter Sonny, why would her boyfriend set the house on fire? How does that even make a bit of sense? Why would the boyfriend set her house on fire? They weren't beefing. Her and 50 were. 50 supposedly threatened her days before. Okay? At the end of the day, and if she lied on him, why didn't he sue her for defamation like he sued Daphne Joy when she recently came out about a year or so ago and accused him of R-wording her. He quickly filed a defamation suit, okay, at the end of the day, but he also didn't file a defamation suit on Daphne Joy back in 2013 when she took out a restraining order on him for allegedly beating the crap out of her. And you know what's interesting about that story? Sounds like he did the same thing to her that she said Diddy did. Okay, so please pay attention. Y'all can cape for 50 all you want, but if anybody set that house on fire on purpose, I would absolutely think that 50 was the one who had the means and the motive to do it. Okay? What makes you think logically that the boyfriend did it? Do you have any motive? Do you have any reason to suspect? No. You just want to cover for 50. But let's continue.
It's kicked into action. I just got everybody out their rooms.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 40.
We had like a little bonus room upstairs, like we had like a couch and a television and stuff. We couldn't go that way, so then we go to my sister's bedroom. So my sister's bedroom had like a little awning, like where the backyard and the pool was. So I was like, I kicked out the screen so we could jump down to the awning to jump out. So I saw a man there. So I got a little hesitant. I was like, oh my gosh, what if he's coming to finish us off? And
What do you mean it's a man?
yeah, it happened to an off-duty police officer.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so he was already on the phone with 911. He said so later on I found out he saw the smoke and he was going to get his daughter from, like, I think he said she was at a hotel. You know how they have prom parties at a hotel, and he said the highway, whichever way he takes, it didn't take him that way. He saw the smoke, came up the driveway, and saved our lives.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right there, but I will say this. If someone dared to accuse me of having their house set on fire, and I know darn well I didn't do it, honey, the first thing I would have done is filed a lawsuit for defamation, libel, and slander. What you're not going to do is act like I tried to take you up out of here, especially if there's a child involved. Okay? Especially a child that's related to me. Where they do that at? Yeah, but 50 didn't do anything except deny it. Okay, and then got mad years later when people still asked him about it. I absolutely believe he did it, period, point blank. We can already see that he's a whole bully. You don't think he was trying to intimidate this woman? And if that's not true, why did Daphne Joy and other women say the same exact thing? Okay, they said the same exact thing. Okay, and got restraining orders. Okay, so yeah, he's violent. We already know that he punched a fan. Okay, so I don't put anything past a man who puts hands on women. So that all being said, back in 2013, 50 Cent, aka Curtis Jackson III, was charged for attacking his then girlfriend Daphne Joy, who is the mother of one of his children. Daphne alleged that 50 Cent broke down the door to a bedroom where she was hiding from him and then kicked her. By the time Los Angeles police arrived, 50 Cent had already fled the scene. Officers at the time estimated the cost of the damages at $4,700. The rapper was charged with domestic violence and vandalism in July of 2013. 50 Cent denied his ex-girlfriend's claims and pled not guilty. In the end, 50 avoided jail time by taking a plea deal. Okay, you don't take a plea deal 9 times out of 10 if you're innocent, especially when you have money to fight the charges, which he did. Now, that all being said, I'm pretty sure he was guilty. Let me continue. Okay, let me continue, because at the end of the day, that's just what it was. Okay, now, that all being said, more than 10 years later, in 2024, Daphne made an Instagram post alleging that 50 Cent had sexually and physically assaulted her. 50 Cent has strongly denied those claims, saying, let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of R-wording me. This is what Daphne said, and physically abusing me. You're no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for a final time. At the time of the allegations, a representative for 50 Cent told People that the disturbing allegations in the sworn pleadings recently filed in a court case related to Daphne Joy, the mother of his then 12-year-old child, had required me to take all necessary legal actions to protect my son's sire. The most recent false and baseless accusations by Daphne Joy are clearly in response to my decision to seek sole custody of my son. My son's sire is my main priority, and keeping him safe in a safe environment is my only focus at this time. That's what 50 was saying through his attorney. 50 Cent sued Daphne Joy for defamation because of this Instagram statement, but the lawsuit was dropped a few months later. Now, with that all being said, here's the thing. I find it interesting that he said that the safety of his son was his main priority, because clearly if he had someone set that house on fire, which I believe that he did, well, then he didn't give a damn about his other son, and clearly has shown us over the years that he does not care about that young man because the mother no longer wanted him. Okay, that's what it seems like. But let's go to this parody of 50 Cent and Tony Yayo. Now, I also saw a video yesterday where 50 Cent picked Tony Yayo up and threw him in the bushes. Now, clearly they were horse playing, but I thought it was very interesting because he picked him up from the back in a whole bear hug. Okay, and I just thought that was a little interesting. But let me continue. Okay.
Really need is a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just cracking in the club when you hear shit. Something like that. It's working that. Rotate that thing. Rotate that. Here you go. Yeah. Rotate that thing. I want to touch that thing. Can you make it go? Step up in the club. I'm like, who you with? You in the house there. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm young fucking nigga from the on the damn floor, nigga do I don't give a fuck. I do what I want. Do my ass up, boy. I don't want. Just listen to talk, nigga down. Come on. That sounds like a problem, man. Face it up on like go, man. When it's up so I know she can hit. Soon as I'm supposed to jump in, I take down to quick. All the nigga really need is a little bit, a little baby girl, just a little. To the crib in a little.
Now, 50 Cent is getting clowned and dragged all over and through the internet. Okay, so I'm sure we can all assess at this point that he picked the wrong ones to mess with, period. And you know, he's still posting little stuff supposedly. I saw a video, I don't know if 50 posted it, but it was of him and Tiny dressed like Willy Wonka in one of the Oompa Loompas. Now, they said 50 posted that, but I'm not sure if he did or not. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And you know, that video that I showed you all the other day where T.I. got into it with Floyd Mayweather, and they were lying and saying that he had black eyes. Did y'all know that's how that meme got started? The meme song or the remix, Where They At, though?
What they say I got two black eyes. Where they at, though? Where they at, though? What they say I got two black. Where they at, though? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at?
Come on, dance a little bit.
I can't dance on camera.
I'm so done. Okay, he was clearly having a good time with it. Please pay attention. Okay. Deuce said, did someone say 50 isn't irrational? I don't know, but he clearly is irrational in my opinion, and a bully to boot. All right, so anyway, with that all been said, about to be up out of here. We're about to be up out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. We're going to sit back and wait and see what Trump does next. Okay, what this idiot's going to do next. Metro Man said, remember Mayweather's, what he said about sexual assault? I don't remember. I don't really care for Mayweather, never have. With that all being said, hold on, I'm reading some of these comments. Floyd Mayweather belongs to the net Yahoo. Y'all need that video and receipts too. Yeah, she said she couldn't dance, and then she tried to say she couldn't dance on the news. Nah, I'm sure she couldn't dance at all. All right. My goodness. Speaking of Cardi B, DJ Big Six, you know, Cardi B, I don't know why she went and got her BBL enhanced or whatever she's done. Right now, it looks real crazy. That's why she keeps falling. I think her butt is too heavy that she can't even hold it up. She's fallen 3 or 4 times at least in the past month. Have y'all seen how big her butt and hips are these days? Now it's given totally fake. Before, at least it blended in because she's got thick thighs, but now that butt just looks ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think that once people start having all these surgeries and things done to enhance themselves, sometimes they just get what's the word I'm looking for? I think that sometimes they just get like obsessed with it or addicted to plastic surgery. Okay, these people walking around here with these fillers in their cheeks and their lips all swollen and puffy, they're starting to all look alike. Okay, and then these BBLs look ghastly. I don't know why they think that stuff looks good. I'm sorry, BBLs are not it. And you can tell they're BBLs most of the time. So why would you go get a fake butt when people can tell it's fake? Now, if it looks real, that's one thing. But most of them, you can tell they're so fake and they look ridiculous. Okay, sad to say, honey. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, make it all make sense. Reggie said body dysmorphia. Okay, absolutely. Okay, well, I guess at least they're not going around identifying as wolves like that teacher. Ronnie said it looks even worse on short females. So does it? Oh my goodness, honey. Robert said table legs. Y'all are so low down. Okay, I mean, some of them just look so ridiculous, honey. You could never pay me to even try it. Just age gracefully. Why are you doing all that stuff to your face? And they don't know that they all look alike and they all have those tight faces. Their faces look stiff like it's going to break if they smile too hard. I mean, at the end of the day, it does not look good. I don't know why any of them think that it does. I'm quite sure had they not done those things to themselves, they would look so much better just aging gracefully. Okay? I just hate when I see them doing that to themselves. It just looks, but if they like it, I guess that's on them. Roddy said they all look alike somehow. Yes, they do. The tight face crew. That's what Lil Zane calls them. The tight face crew. The last Dundada said party balloon booty. Okay? Make it all make sense. Anyway, with that all been said, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. I will see you all tomorrow. Please like and share. Double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. Pretty Wing said just do squats, okay? At the end of the day, honey, do anything but that. Getting those BBLs. All right, so anyway, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating know me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got